Chapter 1561 The Loss of the Nether Hall. Supreme Qingyang, who is the invincible that you are talking about, who is comparable to the Son of the Void? There is no Son of the Void in the third-class invincible realm in our era of Tianfenghai. A first-class invincible Supreme asked curiously. Qingyang Supreme immediately passed some information to the Supremes. After these Supremes received the information about Yi Tian, they were immediately shocked. A new member, and he was promoted to an elite member in a short period of time. Now he has become a third-class invincible. How can he have such a fast promotion speed? Many supreme beings were shocked. They are all the top geniuses in the T-Online world, but they don't have such a fast promotion speed. Compared with Yi Tian's strength improvement speed, they are almost useless. Of course, if you do your best to cultivate an invincible person, if you don't care about the foundation problem, you can quickly advance to the realm of the third-class invincible person, but in that case, the combat effectiveness will be very weak. And when Yi Tian was in the third-class invincible realm, he easily killed the third-class invincibles of the Netherworld Hall of Eternal Name, and his combat power was suspected to be that of the Son of Void. This shows that Yi Tian's foundation is extremely stable, and his potential is far beyond their imagination. In other words, Yi Tian was promoted so quickly on the basis of the most perfect foundation, which was extremely shocking. Look back and wait for this third-class invincible named Yi Tian to return from the battlefield. We might as well let him participate in the assessment of the Son of the Void. If he can pass, we Tianfenghai are equivalent to having 6 Sons of the Void, and the Nether Hall's sons. The number of Nether sons is the same. Agreed, but Yi Tian's safety must be guaranteed. I suggest sending more invincibles to Jin Heaven and Earth, then make Jin Heaven and Earth the main battlefield of this war. Just do it. One by one, the Supremes unified their opinions, and immediately issued orders to let more invincibles rush to Jin Tiandi, as if Jin Tiandi was used as the main battlefield of Tianfenghai and Netherworld Hall. For a time, a large number of invincibles poured into Jin Tiandi. Yi Tian didn't know that he had attracted the attention of the Netherworld Hall in the high-level Tianfenghai, nor did he know that he had attracted a Son of the Void. Even if he told him the Son of the Void, he didn't know what the Son of the Void meant. He continued to kill the invincibles in the Netherworld Hall. If he returned to the Heavenly Wind Sea in the Heavenly Lin realm, he would probably be able to receive a lot of contribution points. This day, Yi Tian found another third-class invincible who was alone, and when the third-class invincible saw Yi Tian, he immediately showed a look of fear. After all, in the eyes of the third-class invincibles in the Netherworld Palace, they have already treated Yi Tian as a Son of the Void. To contend with the Sons of the Void, they are courting death. Help! This third-class invincible didn't want to fight Yi Tian at all, so he asked for help immediately, asking other invincibles from the Netherworld Palace to fight against Yi Tian, waiting for the arrival of the Void Son of the Netherworld Palace. After all, the Son of the Void in the Nether Hall is not in the T-Online realm, and it will take time to summon him back. Yi Tian's speed was very fast, and he immediately caught up with the invincible, disturbing the time and space, making the opponent unable to tear the time and space away. Immediately, Yi Tian hit the third-class invincible into a heavy blow. At this time, dozens of third-class invincibles descended. And they carry heavy treasures. Of course, they don't think that they can kill Yi Tian with so many invincibles. What they have to do is to compete with Yi Tian, so that Yi Tian can't kill any invincible. Boom! Yi Tian was fighting against many third-class invincibles in the Netherworld Hall, and it was impossible for the third-class invincibles in Tianfenghai to remain indifferent. Soon, Tianfenghai's third-class invincibles came to support. With the support of the third-class invincibles of Tianfenghai, the third-class invincibles of the Nether Hall protected them with a heavy treasure, and they retreated together and entered the Jin branch, but the heavy treasure was also lost by the invincibles of Tianfenghai. They were broken into pieces. However, protecting them at the cost of sacrificing a heavy treasure is not a waste. Next, the invincibles of the Nether Hall did not leave this branch. This branch has set up a large formation, which has been blessed by a long period of time. It is enough to resist the attack of any third-class invincible, even some second-class invincibles. It is impossible to break this formation. The second-class invincibles cannot enter the foreign world, so they are still safe for the time being. Subsequently, Yi Tian and the other invincibles of Tianfenghai took the opportunity to destroy the other invincibles who did not have time to enter this branch, and immediately many of the 4th and 5th invincibles in the Nether Hall were slaughtered by the invincibles of Tianfenghai. For a time, the Nether Hall suffered heavy losses. However, the Netherworld Palace doesn't necessarily care about those weak and invincibles, it cares about the lives of the third-class invincibles. Losing one third-class invincible is comparable to losing dozens or more of fourth-class invincibles. After all, if the third-class invincible goes further, it is the second-class invincible. Even in the Yongming level forces, the second-class invincibles are the real backbone. After all, the first-class invincibles usually don't make many shots, and they are all working hard to attack the Supreme. Many things are done by the second-class invincibles. Deal with. It can be seen from this that the third-class invincible is such an important combat power that it cannot be easily lost. Finally this day, a large number of third-class invincibles from the Nether Hall and a Son of the Void descended on Jin Tiandi. Lord Rogo, this is Jin Hishindi. A third-class invincible stood in front of a proud young man. This young man was wearing a black robe, with a golden horn protruding from his forehead, and his body was filled with a noble aura. He was a genius of the Bloodhorn clan in the T-Online realm, and the Bloodhorn clan was considered to be the top racial power in the Netherworld Hall. 1 Knowledge. The Bloodhorns have 3 first-class invincibles, and he is the son of one of them, Zhao Li's first-class invincibles. He is even more talented than his father and won the name of the Son of the Void, and his reputation is resounding throughout the T-Online world. Therefore, he has the right to be proud. Tianfenghai, a newly promoted Yongming level force, even dares to fight with our Netherworld Hall. I remember that Tianfenghai's Son of the Void does not have the third-class invincible realm. It is not the Son of the Void, he does not understand the power of the Son of the Void. If Tianfenghai hides this third-class invincible, he may really be able to give birth to another Son of the Void, but now he will fall here. Rogo believes in himself. After all, he is not only the Son of the Void, but after becoming the Son of the Void, his strength has increased a bit. If he hadn't suppressed his strength, he would have already entered the realm of the second-class invincible. Today, he will let the other invincibles know what is the real Son of the Void. Chapter 1562 The Supreme's Fight. Be careful, Rogo, the Son of the Void, is here. Tianfenghai's third-class invincible said nervously. Although Yi Tian's strength is comparable to the Son of the Void, but after all, he is not the real Son of the Void. No one knows how powerful the Son of the Void is. What if Yi Tian is not an opponent? Maybe Rogo alone can't stop them, so many invincibles, but Rogo will not fight against them with his own strength, but he will lead many third-class invincibles in the Nether Hall to join forces to defeat them, if no one can stop them. If they live in Rogo, their confidence will be destroyed, or even rout, then it is really easy to fail. Unless Tianfenghai pays a great price and sacrifices many treasures, Rogo will be hit hard. Rogo came too fast, and killed many third-class invincibles, trying to tear apart the containment of Jin branch by Tianfenghai. The dozen or so third-class invincibles from Tianfenghai collided with Rogo for the first time, but they were all knocked away by Rogo, showing almost invincible combat power. Let me deal with it. Yi Tian stopped Rogo and said. The other invincibles nodded. They really couldn't stop Rogo, unless they dispatched too many invincibles, but if 750 was like that, how could they resist other third-class invincibles in the Netherworld Hall? If at this time, the invincibles of the Netherworld Hall of the Jin branch rushed out and attacked them both inside and outside, maybe Tianfenghai would suffer heavy losses this time. Boom! Yi Tian fought with Rogo. As soon as they fought, Yi Tian found that he was slightly at a disadvantage. After all, he has only become a third-class invincible, but Rogo is already incomparably close to the second-class invincible, and Rogo's invincible body is also incomparably powerful, not even weaker than Yi Tian's current physical body. In addition, Rogo's combat skills are extremely proficient. It seems that after endless years of fighting, he has turned all invincible skills into combat instincts. He shoots a set of invincible skills, turned into a normal attack. And such means, Yi Tian has not yet mastered. After all, there are not many opportunities for him to fight, and the speed of cultivation is too fast. He is usually silently cultivating, so there are many fighting opportunities. He didn't know how Rogo's fighting ability was exercised, but he also let him know that there are people outside, there are days outside, and Rogo is indeed very powerful. CJFI and Rogo was also surprised. He also had to admit that Yi Tian's strength had reached the threshold of the Son of the Void. If he went to the assessment of the Son of the Void, he would have a nearly half chance to pass the Son of the Void, definitely not weaker than him. He can only suppress Yi Tian at the battle rhythm now, but it is very difficult to kill Yi Tian. Yi Tian found that if he continued to fight, he couldn't destroy the Jin branch of the Netherworld Palace, so he proposed to retreat for the time being. When the other third-class invincibles heard it, they immediately followed Yi Tian's advice and withdrew one by one. Subsequently, many invincibles of Tianfenghai returned to a temporary base established by Tianfenghai in Jin Tiandi, and took a break for a while. Rogo entered the Jin branch, and invincibles came to visit the Son of the Void. When Rogo heard the loss report of the Jin branch, his face was a little ugly. A bunch of trash, so many invincibles have fallen. Rogo scolded angrily. The other side, Yi Tian entered the base and asked the other third-class invincibles about the Son of Void. Everyone, what is the Son of the Void? Yi Tian asked sincerely. A third-class invincible person explained. Lord Yi Tian, the Son of the Void is a title, but also a kind of honor. Basically every Yongming level force or a few holy name level forces have the Son of the Void, Wei Tianfeng. The sea has a total of 5 children of the Void, and the Nether Hall has a total of 6 children of the Void. As for how to obtain the title of the Child of the Void, we do not know, only know that once the Child of the Void is born, all forces will recognize it. 1 inch. After Yi Tian heard it, he became even more curious about the Son of Void. In the following years, Tianfenghai used Jin Heaven and Earth as the battlefield, and fought with the Netherworld again and again, and Yi Tian and the Son of the Void, Rogo, also fought many times. All of them were at a disadvantage, but they were still able to compete. Rogo. Long years have passed, and an invincible person has fallen. Whether it is Tianfenghai or Netherworld Hall, the loss is relatively large. However, such a loss is still within the scope of both sides. After all, there is no loss of core combat power. No matter how much the loss is, the 4th and 5th level invincibles or the 3rd level invincibles cannot shake the fundamental problem. However, on this day, the Netherworld Temple was furious. Heavenly Lin Realm, the headquarters of the Netherworld Hall. The Nether Hall Master roared into the sky, leapt away in one step, and went directly to Tianfenghai. And Tianfeng Supreme knew that the Lord of the Netherworld Palace was coming, and directly fought with the Lord of the Netherworld Palace in the void of the Tianline realm. Tianfeng Yuanshan, you are shameless, you actually killed a Son of the Void in my Nether Hall, 13 first-class invincibles. Yuanzu is a name for the Supreme Being, which means that even in the Source Sea, it can be called a god. The Nether Hall Master was extremely angry at this moment, almost losing his mind. 13 first-class invincibles, as well as a Son of the Void, all fell at once, which is simply shaking the foundation of the Nether Hall. He originally thought that the purpose of Tianfenghai was to kill the third-class invincibles and the invincibles below the third-class invincibles. Even if the Netherworld Palace loses some in the foreign void, it doesn't matter. Unexpectedly, the real purpose of Tianfenghai was actually a first-class invincible and a first-class invincible Son of the Void. It was an important branch of the Netherworld Hall, located somewhere in the Source Sea. And Tianfeng Yuanshan condensed a temporary avatar with special treasures, disguised as his body, making him think that Tianfeng Yuanshan's body was in the Tianline world. However, at the critical moment of Tianfeng Yuanshan, the main body appeared in the branch of the Netherworld Hall, and 13 first-class invincibles and a Son of the Void were red-veiled at a very fast speed, and then quickly returned to Tianline world. He didn't know how the branch was exposed, but it was useless to probe how it was exposed. Now he just wants to fight with Tianfeng Yuanshan for life and death, otherwise he can't bear this breath. Tianfeng Yuanshan said with a sneer, Master of the Netherworld Palace, didn't you attack and kill one of our first-class invincibles in Tianfenghai before? I just imitated you. You are revenge. The Lord was furious. Tianfeng Yuanshan admitted. That's right, I'm just revenge, what's wrong? The interaction between the two was too quiet, as if the entire Tianline realm was shaking. At this moment, a man in white appeared in the void where they were fighting. Seeing this person, Tianfeng Yuanshan and Nether Hall Master immediately stopped. I have seen Akiba Genzu. Chapter 1563 The war is over, retreat again. Chuya Yuanzu, one of the 3 supreme beings in the Tianline world, is far more powerful than Tianfeng Yuanshan. With the title Yuanzu, he is above the general Yuanshan. Neither Tianfeng Yuanshan nor the Netherworld Hall Master dared to be presumptuous in front of Chuya Yuanzu. As the supreme being, why are you fighting in the Tianline realm? Akiba Genzu asked. The Supremes are not allowed to fight at will in the eternal heaven and earth, otherwise, if they don't care, if they evolve into the Yuanji realm and become the Yuanji Abyss, then one day, the Tianline realm will also become the Tianji Abyss. As one of the 3 oldest supreme beings in the Tianline realm, Chuya Yuanzu naturally did not want to see this scene. Chuya Yuanzu, Tianfeng Yuanshan killed 13 first-class invincibles in my Nether Hall, and also killed a Son of the Void. The Nether Palace Master said. Tianfeng Yuanshan hurriedly said. This is the Netherworld Palace first shot at us, Tianfenghai, I will take revenge. 1. Forget it, I also know a thing or two about what happened before you. The matter has come to this point. I don't care what hatred you have, from today onwards, let it be. As for the war between you, let's end it, otherwise the impact will be lost. It's too big, Akiba Genzu ordered. The Nether Hall Master was a little unwilling, but he still replied, yes. He did not dare to disagree, otherwise Akiba Yuanzu would have the strength to kill him. Having become the Supreme, he has almost stood at the peak level of Yuanai, and he does not want to fall. Tianfeng Yuanshan naturally agreed, he wanted to end it, and he was very happy that the Netherworld Hall suffered heavy losses this time. As for the attack on the Invincible in the future, he will not do it, otherwise Akiba Yuanzu will not let him go. Jin World, Tianfenghai and the Invincibles of the Nether Hall have all received news and know that the two sides are on strike. So, the Invincibles of Tianfenghai left the Jin World one by one and returned to the T-Online world. They have to go back to Tianfenghai and submit tasks one by one to receive contribution points. Yi Tian also submitted a mission. This time he killed many Invincibles in the Netherworld Hall, including several third-class Invincibles. Killing a third-class Invincible was rewarded with 1 billion contribution points, plus other Invincibles, the bounty of the person. In the end, Yi Tian was rewarded with a contribution value of nearly 10 billion. It can be said that Yi Tian now has almost no shortage of contribution points, enough to buy countless resources. Not long after he came back, the leader of Tianfenghai, the current Tianfeng Yuan god summoned him. Tianfeng Yuanshan, the new supreme, summoned me. Yi Tian was a little puzzled, but went anyway. Soon, he saw Tianfeng Yuanai. Meet the leader, Yi Tian said respectfully. Tianfeng Yuanshan looked at Yi Tian, smiled and said, Yi Tian, you are very good, I heard that you fought back and forth with Luo Zhe, the son of the void in the Nether Hall, do you want to become the son of the void? Yi Tian said quickly, boss, I don't know much about the son of the void, and I don't know how to answer. That's right, Tianfeng Yuanshan also knows that many Invincibles don't understand the son of the void, just because the son of the void is a name. So, he explained, the title of the son of the void is not assessed by our forces but the void origin hall. 1. In the narration of Tianfeng Yuanshan, Yi Tian finally understood. It turned out that in a mysterious place in the Source Sea, there was an endless and magnificent temple, the Void Origin Hall. The Son of the Void is the evaluation obtained by passing the assessment in the Void Origin Hall. Once you become the Son of the Void, you will get a lot of benefits. At this time, Tianfeng Yuanshan said again, the Source Sea is very large, not only one eternal world in T-Online realm, but also other eternal worlds. There are many children of the Void in these eternal worlds, but the Void Origin Hall can be ignored. The distance from the Source Sea communicates every eternal world. Once you become a child of the Void, you can go to other eternal worlds through the Void Source Hall in the future, which can save countless time. Moreover, more benefits, only by becoming a child of the Void, can you be qualified to know. I want to participate in the assessment, but not now. Yi Tian said. I was promoted to the third-class Invincible not long ago, and there is still room for improvement, and if I participate now, I do not necessarily guarantee that I will become a child of the Void 100%. Yes, if you want to participate in the assessment, come to me at that time. Tianfeng Yuanshan assured. Thank you boss, Yi Tian said gratefully. Immediately, he left Tianfenghai. For flowers. In the following years, Yi Tian began to practice hard, striving to rise to the limit of the third-class Invincible, and then he would go to participate in the assessment of the Son of the Void. With the passage of time, Yi Tian continued to create an invincible ancestral skill. Although it was not a lot to improve his strength, it would add up to a lot. And he also bought a lot of precious resources to assist in the cultivation of the myriad origin returning ruins, duplicating the body at all costs to perfect the myriad origin returning ruins. After the strength is strong, the resources needed to copy the body once are also a little more, but in fact, more resources come from the Source Sea. Yi Tian didn't know until after he became a source of life, that he copied his body countless times without paying any price, so where did the energy come from? Now I know that the energy comes from the original energy in the Source Sea. However, after the strength is strong, even if the copy body extracts the energy of the Source Sea, it cannot be condensed in an instant, and it still needs some resources to assist. Of course, compared to other Invincibles with special clones, this price paid by Yi Tian is not a price at all. Other Invincibles with special avatars, once the avatars fall, the main body will be severely damaged, it takes endless years to recover, and it takes a huge price to condense the avatars again, and each condensation is enough to consume a certain amount of their worth. Unknowingly, the dark forbidden area has passed through hundreds of great calamities. On this day, Yi Tian's myriad origin returning ruins finally reached the 4th level of perfection, and his cultivation reached the limit of the 3rd class invincible. Compared with the past, Yi Tian's strength is much stronger. If he fights with Rogo again, he can easily defeat Rogo, but it is somewhat difficult to kill Rogo. After all, at the level of the 3rd class invincible, unless the difference in strength is too great, he can be sure to kill him. He was able to kill other 3rd class invincibles, but those 3rd class invincibles were too weak. And to be able to achieve ranking, the top existence of the invincibles such as the world, it is difficult to kill such 3rd class invincibles. Chapter 1564 Become a Child of the Void. It's time to become a son of the void. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he went to the Tianfeng Sea in the Tianline realm with his cloned body to meet the Tianfeng Yuanshan. When he saw Tianfeng Yuanshan gave Yi Tian a token. Yi Tian, this token is the treasure to go to the Void Origin Hall, otherwise, at your speed, if you want to fly to the Void Origin Hall, I am afraid it will take a long time, but with this token, you can reach it in an instant. Void Origin Hall, Tianfeng Yuanshan introduced. Yi Tian took the token and said gratefully, "Thank you boss." Then, he refined the token and activated it. Boom. An unimaginable space force enveloped Yi Tian, instantly pierced through the endless source sea distance, and brought him to a magnificent temple that could not be described in words. Here is the 767 Hall of Void Source. When he came to the Void Origin Hall, a magnificent voice entered his soul. "Assessor, are you going to conduct the Son of Void assessment?" Yi Tian replied, "Yes." At this time, the grand voice continued, "I'm about to enter the Void Tower. Assessors need to pass the 1st floor of the Void Tower to obtain the title of Son of the Void, pass the 2nd floor of the Void Tower to obtain the title of the Son of the Void, and pass the 3rd floor of the Void Tower to obtain the title of Lord of the Void." What other titles of Void God Son and Void Lord? Why hasn't he heard of it, and Tianfeng Yuanshan hasn't told him, don't they know? No, it is impossible not to know, perhaps no one has achieved it. Because no one has achieved it, Tianfeng Yuanshan did not mention it. Boom. Yi Tian was sent to the 1st floor of the Void Tower by the Void Origin Hall, and soon welcomed his opponent. The dense number of robbery beasts appeared, all of them are comparable to ordinary 3rd class invincible beasts. Such robbery beasts are very weak, even the general 3rd class invincibles of Yongming level forces can easily kill, not to mention Yi Tian. However, there are too many of them, tens of thousands. How can those 3rd class invincibles be able to contend against so many beasts? No wonder it is so difficult to become a son of the void, few 3rd class invincibles can do it. Yi Tian exclaimed, "Kill!" Yi Tian severely wounded and even killed the beasts one by one, but more beasts rushed over. Therefore, he must always use defensive invincible skills, and use his speed advantage to maximize the speed class invincible ancestor skills. It can be said that if a 3rd class invincible person has shortcomings, even if the strength is very strong, I am afraid that it will be difficult to pass such an assessment. Yi Tian's strength is much stronger than Rogo, and even Rogo passed through the 1st floor of the Void Tower and became the Son of the Void. Therefore, Yi Tian can naturally pass through the 1st floor of the Void Tower, and it will be very easy. As time passed, all the beasts on the 1st floor were killed. But Yi Tian found that the robbery beasts killed did not give birth to blood robbery, bone robbery and robbery crystal, but turned into a stream of energy that was absorbed by the Void Origin Hall. Obviously, the Void Origin Hall masters the method of creating robbery beasts, and can recycle the robbery beasts and continue to create them. Otherwise, if an invincible person comes to test, how can there be so many robbery beasts in Void Origin Hall for them to kill? Through the assessor, you passed the 1st floor of the Void Tower and obtained the title of Son of the Void. Do you want to take the 2nd floor assessment? A grand voice descended. Yes, Yi Tian replied. He also wanted to know how difficult the 2nd level assessment of the Void Tower was, and why so far no invincible person has passed the 2nd level assessment and became a Void God child. Wow, Yi Tian was teleported to the 2nd floor of the Void Tower, and soon he saw his opponents. The opponent on the 2nd floor of the Void Tower is still a robbery beast, but it is obviously not an ordinary robbery beast. From the perspective of aura, it is still a 3rd class invincible, but it is much stronger than the robbery beast on the 1st floor. Moreover, there are too many robbery beasts on the 2nd floor, far exceeding the robbery beasts on the 1st floor. The fight has begun. Yi Tian found that it was very difficult for him to kill a robbery beast with one blow. At least he needed several tricks to kill a robbery beast, and with so many robbery beasts besieging him together, he could not deal with a robbery beast with all his strength. Gradually, he found that he could only consume energy, and there was no way to kill so many invincible robbery beasts. Soon, Yi Tian gave up. I can't pass this level at all, it's very disappointing. At this time, he also understood why the other invincibles did not submit the Void God's son, so he could not be born. Coming out of the Void Tower, Yi Tian came to the main hall of the Void Origin Hall. At this time, the Void Origin Hall transmitted some information to him, allowing him to have a better understanding of the Void Origin Hall and the benefits of the Son of Void. Using the Void Origin Hall to travel is only one of the benefits, and he can also use the Void Tower to exercise his combat power. He can enter the Void Tower again and again, and only need to pay a small fee, and the cost is the Source Rule Robbery Crystal. No wonder Rogo has such rich combat experience, it seems that he often enters the Void Tower to cultivate. Yi Tian guessed. In addition, only the Son of the Void can comprehend the Void Origin Monument. This is the greatest chance of the Void Origin Hall, and even the Supreme One is extremely envious. But if it is not the Son of the Void, even the Supreme cannot enter the Void Source Hall to understand the Void Source Monument. The time for the Son of the Void to comprehend the Void Origin Monument is very limited, and it needs to queue up. Only the Son of the Void does not need to line up. Every 10 children of the Void can comprehend the Void Origin Monument for about one big robbery. Of course, the children of the Void also need to pay, that is, the Void Points. Void Points are not exchanged for resources, and Void Points can only be obtained through specific channels. One is to become Son of the Void 5.8, and the Void Origin Hall will reward 1000 points. The second is to become the Supreme One and you can get 10,000 points. The third is to give points to other Void Sons. Basically, if you want to get a lot of points, you can only rely on the mission of the Void Origin Hall. Artifact Spirit, list the tasks of the Void Origin Hall. 1. Yi Tian asked. The Grand Voice is also the Artifact Spirit, and some tasks are listed. Task. Kill the Yuan-I life and swallow the Yuan-Long. A swallowing Yuan-Long is worth 100,000 points. Close black lens bracket. Task. Find the Void Source Crystal. A Void Source Crystal, 100 points. Close black lens bracket. Task. Condense the Void Source Body and reward 30,000 points. Close black lens bracket. Yi Tian looked at each task and was very excited, but these tasks were too difficult, and there was no easy task. Chapter 1565 Void Source Body. Yi Tian has also heard that Yuan-I life devours Yuan-Long. This is a very rare Source C life, adult as the Supreme Realm, and can even devour exotic worlds, but few people have seen it. Moreover, if he really encountered the devouring origin dragon, no matter how he dared to hunt it, he could not escape. As for the Void Source Crystal, it is also an extremely rare treasure. Only some special treasures in the Source Sea will be born, and he does not know where such treasures are found. Condense the Void Source Body. Yi Tian stared at this task, a little moved in his heart. Although he doesn't know what the Void Source Body is, the reward is very generous, with a full 30,000 points. In other words, the Void Source Body is very important. Go back first and ask Tianfeng Yuanshan, maybe he knows what the Void Source Body is. Yi Tian thought to himself. Of course, before he left, he applied to comprehend the Void Origin Monument, but after 22 great tribulations, it can be seen how many Void Sons want to comprehend the Void Origin Monument. After becoming the Son of the Void, Yi Tian has obtained the badge of the Son of the Void. Through this badge, he can enter the Void Source Hall, and can easily leave the Void Source Hall. He can even condense a temporary token to others through the badge, so that others can participate in the assessment of the Son of the Void. And Tianfeng Yuanshan gave him a token, allowing him to enter the Void Origin Hall to participate in the assessment. Obviously, Tianfeng Yuanshan must also be a Son of the Void. Wow, Yi Tian left from the Void Origin Hall and returned to Tianfenghai. The moment Tianfeng Yuanshan saw Yi Tian, he knew that Yi Tian had succeeded. Son of Void and Son of Void are inductive, he can sense the aura of Son of Void badge on Yi Tian, so Yi Tian must have become Son of Void. Yi Tian, congratulations. Tianfeng Yuanshan congratulated. Many thanks to the leader. Yi Tian said gratefully. You have just become the Son of the Void. I'm afraid there are many things you don't know very well. You can ask me what you want to know. After a while, I will be in retreat. If you want to ask me, I can't answer you. Tianfeng Yuanshan said with a smile. Yi Tian hurriedly asked, Boss, I want to know what the Void Origin body is, and I actually asked the Void Origin Hall to give a reward of 30,000 points. Void Source Body. Tianfeng Yuanshan regretted. You can treat it as an extremely powerful robbery body, but unfortunately it must be condensed into a Void Source body when the third-class invincible person is, otherwise it will become a second-class invincible body. It was too late when the body and soul began to fuse. Because of this, many children of the Void have stayed in the realm of third-class invincibles, just wanting to fight. For example, they fought against you before. The son of Rogo Void, he also wanted to condense the Void Source body, so he never hit the second-class invincible realm. As for how to cultivate the Void Origin body, there is no cultivation method, only the Void Origin Monument. The Void Origin Monument can make people comprehend various eternal rules, and can also make people perfect the invincible robbery body. The most powerful invincible in the T-Online world. The robbery body is only the top invincible robbery body, just like the robbery body of Wanyuan returning to the ruins that you cultivated. It is actually a robbery body that a son of the Void comprehends himself through the Void Source Monument, but unfortunately it is far from the standard of the Void Source body. It is a failure of creation. According to our speculation, in order to create a Void Source body, you must comprehend enough eternal rules, and each eternal rule must reach a very advanced realm, which requires you to accumulate enough points in the third-class invincible realm. It is extremely difficult to obtain points to learn about the Void Origin Monument. In our T-Online realm, only Lord Chuya Yuanzu has condensed the Void Origin body, which was only accumulated with the help of the other two supreme beings. It is said to have killed a large number of devouring origin dragons, but now there is no such opportunity. After Tianfeng Yuanshan explained, Yi Tian finally knew the power of the Void Source body, which was far beyond the Void Source body. Perhaps after condensing the Void Source body, he can hope to pass through the second floor of the Void Tower and become the Void Godson. Then, he left Tianfenghai. Right now, he still needs 22 great calamities before he can go to comprehend the Void Origin Monument. Compared with other children of the Void, he has a huge advantage, that is, he has eternal talents, and there are far more than one. Through the eternal talent, he is countless times faster than others in comprehending the eternal rules, so he may only need to spend a few points to condense the Void Source body. Of course, the more eternal talent he acquired, the greater the hope of condensing the Void Source body. At present, I don't have the Timeless Ancestors. It seems that I have to spend a lot of time to copy the Time's Ultimate Ancestors, and use a lot of Time's Ultimate Ancestors to merge them into the Timeless Ancestors. Yi Tian murmured. So, he used Tianfenghai's intelligence to inquire about the existence of the Ultimate Ancestor of Time, and it turned out that there are some beings who have the Ultimate Ancestor of Time. Some beings are Origin C beings, and some are races from other eternal worlds. Yi Tian was able to hurry through the Void Origin Hall, thus saving countless time. Years passed, Yi Tian roamed all over the Source Sea again and again, and some dangers also occurred. He even broke into many Jedi by death, and copied his body and died many 767 times, but compared with the harvest, it is not worth mentioning. Before you know it, a great calamity time has passed. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian copied enough Time's Ultimate Ancestral Fu, and fused these Time's Ultimate Ancestral Fu, and finally completed the transformation. Eternal Ancestor Fu, Time. Success. Yi Tian was very excited. He had obtained the Space Eternal Ancestral Fu before, and now he has obtained the Time Eternal Ancestral Fu. Together with other Eternal Ancestral Fu, he already has a lot of Eternal Ancestral Fu. However, Yi Tian did not stop at these Eternal Ancestors. He continues to collect other rare and ultimate ancestral treasures, striving for more timeless ancestral treasures. In this way, one great calamity time has passed. Yi Tian's strength has not improved much. After all, he has almost improved to the extreme at the level of the third-class invincible, but his combat experience has improved a lot. He often went to the Void Tower to fight, and by breaking through the second floor of the Void Tower, he honed his fighting awareness and fighting rhythm. Therefore, his current combat experience is gradually approaching that of a son of the Void like Rogo. This day, Yi Tian rushed to the Void Origin Hall, and it was the main body that entered the Void Origin Hall. He applied for the enlightenment of the Void Origin Monument, and now he is in the queue. Chapter 1566 Endless Source Body. Void Origin Hall. 10 Sons of the Void came here. At this time Yi Tian discovered that among the other 10 Sons of the Void, there were only 5 third-class invincibles, 2 second-class invincibles, 1 first-class invincible, and 2 supreme ones. The 10 sons of the void did not speak, and were quickly transported to the space where the void source monument was located by the artifact spirit of the void source hall. In a void space, a huge void source monument is located here. Near the void origin monument, there are 10 small spaces, each of which represents a seat. Whoa! Yi Tian appeared in a small space, and other children of the void also entered other small spaces. As soon as he entered this small space, Yi Tian clearly sensed the extraordinariness here, and the endless eternal rules seemed to be presented in front of him, as if he was inside the void origin monument, and felt the eternal rules contained in the void origin monument all the time. Enlightenment. Yi Tian immediately sat cross-legged and began to comprehend the eternal rules. It takes 500 points to comprehend the void origin monument once, that is to say, if there is no other point income, the points obtained by becoming a son of the void are only enough to comprehend twice. Therefore, for him, any opportunity to comprehend the void origin monument is extremely precious. He even wanted to directly condense the void origin body just through this opportunity to comprehend. When other people comprehend the void origin monument once, they naturally have no chance to condense the void origin body, but Yi Tian is different. He has a lot of eternal ancestral gifts, and he has fully comprehended the time of a great robbery, which is incomparable to him. It's been a long time. Therefore, he felt that he had great confidence in directly condensing the void origin body. Time goes by slowly. The eternal rules of time, the eternal rules of space, the eternal rules of gold, the eternal rules of wood, the eternal rules of water. A variety of eternal rules are growing at an incredible speed, and the speed of progress far exceeds that of other children of the void. I have to say that the eternal ancestor Fu and the void origin monument are really wonderful. And with the improvement of the eternal rules, coupled with the existence of the void origin monument, Yi Tian's perception of the invincible robbery body is getting deeper and deeper, and he gradually understands the defects of Wanyuan returning ruins. In the past, he felt that the invincible robbery body of Wanyuan Guishu was very powerful, and he perfected it step by step, and his physical body was far stronger than other invincibles. But now, he feels that the return to the ruins of Wanyuan is relatively ordinary. If he spends some time, he can also create a variety of top invincible body robbing methods that are comparable to the return to the ruins of Wanyuan. The long years have passed, and it is roughly equivalent to half the time of the Great Robbery. And at this time, Yi Tian's attainment of various eternal rules has surpassed many times before. He decided to start creating a void source body method. In fact, even if each child of the void eventually created a void source body, they are different from each other. Some void children's void source body is relatively ordinary, while some void children's void source body is extremely powerful. And Yi Tian is preparing to condense a top-notch void source body, and he has this potential. After all, there is only one child of the void like him who has a lot of eternal ancestry, so he comprehends the void origin monument once, which is equivalent to others comprehending the void origin body countless times. For example, his current understanding of the eternal rules, those supreme are not as good as him. If he couldn't create a top-notch void origin body like this, the other void sons would probably have no hope. A dark calendar time passed. Yi Tian initially created a void source body method. So, he let the copy body of the outside world start to cultivate this void origin body, so as to find out the defects. This was also the reason why Yi Tian asked his body to comprehend the void origin monument and copied his body to stay in the outside world. Because he didn't dare to come to the main body to test, he could only let the cloned body to test, but if the cloned body was cultivating here, if the cloned body had a big problem and collapsed if it failed, wouldn't this opportunity for enlightenment be wasted? Soon, the results of the practice came out. Sure enough, flaws. Yi Tian muttered. There are probably more than 10,000 defects in the initially created void source body, and his current purpose is to make up for these defects so that the void source body becomes incomparably perfect. Another dark time has passed. At this time, Yi Tian has made up for a lot of defects, and there are only more than 100 defects left, but the later defects are more and more difficult to make up. In desperation, Yi Tian made improvements while comprehending the void origin monument. As time goes by, the time left is getting less and less, but there are still many loopholes left in the void source body. Finally, on this day, the time for void origin monument to comprehend is over. The time for enlightenment has come for all children of the void. Yi Tian found that he was moved out by the artifact spirit of the void origin hall. What a pity, Yi Tian secretly said. There is not enough time, and he still has 6 defects that have not been fully filled. Perhaps for other sons of the void, Being able to create the source body of the void is already extremely satisfying, and they care about the mere 6 flaws. However, Yi Tian is ready to continue to improve. Although without the help of the void origin monument, it would be very simple for him to perfect the void origin body, and it would even take countless hours, but if he had replicated his body to test again and again, he would still be able to persevere. Before he came out of the void origin hall, he applied to comprehend the void origin monument again, but because he had comprehended it once at a time, it would take longer for him to line up this time, and he had already queued up after the 126th Great Calamity. That is to say, there are still 1260 void children queuing up ahead. After coming out of the void origin hall, Yi Tian immediately entered the closed-door penance, and finished studying Jiao Wang Jiao Good Void Origin Body every day. One after another great robbery has passed, and before you know it, the human race has occupied many exotic worlds, and countless ancestors have also been born. Even Yi Tian's wives and children have stepped onto the tribulation realm one after another, preparing to transcend the robbery in the flesh. Achieve the invincible land. With Yi Tian's help, their hope of becoming invincible is naturally great. After more than a dozen times of great robbery, Xiao Yu became the 6th class invincible, and Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu also became the 6th class invincible, but their talents were limited, so they were only the 6th class achievements of the 6th class robbery. Invincible. For them, this has been very satisfactory. In Yi Tian's 18 robbery from the Void Origin Hall, Yi Tian finally made up for the last flaw of the void body. He has successfully created the most perfect and top-notch void source body. He named it Endless Source Body. Chapter 1567 Become the Son of the Void. The void source body created by other void children should be far less powerful and perfect than my void source body, so once I condense the endless source body, its strength will be stronger, and there is even a real hope to pass the void source pagoda. Second floor. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. The endless source body was created, and Yi Tian was ready to start practicing. However, if you want to condense the endless source body, you need some material resources to assist, and other ordinary materials are nothing, but there are 2 kinds of materials that you must have. The first main material is the Void Origin Crystal. This treasure is very precious. Even in the Void Origin Hall, it is worth 100 points. In the previous 22 great robbery times when Yi Tian searched for various talents, Yi Tian was lucky enough to encounter a Void Origin Crystal, and paid several lives to get this Void Origin Crystal. It is precisely because of this Void Source Crystal that he will add the characteristics of the Void Source Crystal to it when he perfects the Endless Source Body, so that he can completely improve the Endless Source Body. The second main material is the Eternal Source. The special energy possessed by the Eternal Source is the most crucial thing for the Endless Source to be cultivated. If there is no Eternal Source, the Endless Source cannot be formed. In fact, the Void Origin Monument can also be called the Eternal Origin, and it is enough to rank in the top of the Eternal Origin. Unfortunately, he cannot extract the energy of the Void Origin Monument. Otherwise, the spirits of the Void Origin Hall will be suppressed. But he still has a virtual mountain of gold, so there is no shortage of eternal sources. After preparing other auxiliary materials, Yi Tian began to retreat and cultivate the endless source body on the virtual golden mountain. After a long time, Yi Tian cultivated to a critical moment, took out the Void Source Crystal, began to refine the Void Source Crystal, and also began to extract the energy of the Void Golden Mountain. At this moment, Yi Tian's myriad origin returning ruins invincible robbery body began to disintegrate and gradually evolved into an endless source body. At the beginning, Yi Tian was very weak, but as time passed, his invincible robbery body became more and more terrifying, and soon surpassed the myriad origin returning ruins. A dark calendar. A big robbery. Unknowingly, Yi Tian retreated for 6 times of great robbery. At this moment, he has completely condensed the endless source body, the void source body, and the power of the invincible robbery body far exceeds the myriad origin returning ruins. But, the price is too high. Yi Tian looked at the illusory golden mountain below, it had become bleak at this moment, he absorbed too much energy, even the restoration of the rules of heaven at the beginning was far less than what he absorbed this time. He feels that he has almost sucked this virtual gold mountain to half, and relying on the virtual gold mountain like today is probably not enough to make him invincible. If it was before, he might still feel a pity, but now he doesn't care. He is not only the son of the void, he may also be promoted to the son of the void god, and he has condensed the endless source body, how terrifying the future potential is, and he doesn't care about a mere illusory golden mountain. Shu Mi Jinshan is only ranked in more than 100 eternal sources, and he is still a little disdainful. Shu Mi Jinshan created his endless source body and has fulfilled its responsibilities. After forming the endless source body, Yi Tian began to stabilize the endless source body, and at the same time, he needed to recultivate to the perfect state of the endless source body before he could reach the second-class invincible realm. In the years that followed, Yi Tian continued to practice hard, and finally spent several great tribulations time and countless resources, and only then did he cultivate the endless source body to the perfect state of the third-class invincible. Not only that, Yi Tian also perfected many of his invincible ancestral skills one after another. The invincible ancestral skills he created before are indeed top invincible skills, but they are not the top invincible skills, and even have shortcomings. Now, he has perfected these invincible ancestral skills, enough to increase the power of these invincible skills by more than 50%, and the consumption can be reduced by less than 30%. In this way, his overall strength has also improved a lot. This day, Yi Tian came to the Void Tower of the Void Origin Hall. He was about to pass the second floor of the Void Tower. If he succeeded, he would be the Son of the Void, whose status far surpassed that of the ordinary Son of the Void. The second floor of the Void Tower. Yi Tian watched the countless robbery beasts rushing around, and immediately began to fight with these robbery beasts. If it was before, he couldn't kill a robbery beast with a single blow, and he couldn't compete with these countless robbery beasts at all. But now it is different, he can kill a whole beast with only one hand, and the combat power has increased by many times CJFI. With the passage of time, Yi Tian consumed a lot and was injured, but the number of robbery beasts dropped sharply. According to this situation, he has great hope of passing the second floor of the Void Tower. A long time has passed, Yi Tian's injury is already serious, but the number of robbery beasts is not much left, and after several days of fighting, Yi Tian finally killed all these robbery beasts, and he himself is extremely miserable. If he hadn't perfected those invincible ancestral skills, he would probably fail this time. Yi Tian passed through the second floor of the Void Tower and officially became the Void Godson of the Void Origin Hall. Did he pass all the Void Sons? The voice of the spirit came. No, Yi Tian immediately refused. He doesn't want to be too high profile now, he is only a third-class invincible, and any first-class invincible has the strength to kill him, let alone those supreme. If he is too high profile, if some supreme people do not want him to grow up, he will be in trouble. Even if the main body can temporarily hide in the foreign world, once he becomes a second-class invincible, there is no way to hide in the foreign world. The Supreme One could crush him to death with only one hand. So, it's better to be low-key for the time being. After passing through the second floor of the Void Tower, Yi Tian did not continue to break through the third floor. After all, he even paid the price of serious injury to break through the second floor, and there was no hope of breaking through the third floor at all. After coming out of the Void Tower, Yi Tian began to check the permissions and rewards belonging to the Void Godson. The Void Origin Hall gave 3 major rewards. The first reward is 10,000 points. After all, he was rewarded with 30,000 points for passing the second floor of the Void Tower, and passing through the second floor of the Void Tower is synchronized with becoming the Void Godson, so he can continue to reward him with 10,000 points. This is already pretty good. The second reward is a Source Tool. The Source Tool is a weapon that is above the actuator. Almost only the Supreme Person has enough financial resources to create a Source Tool. And Yi Tian, as a third-class invincible, has a Source Tool, which is enough to make countless invincibles envious. The third reward is an Eternal Source. That's right, it is the Eternal Source. Such a precious thing turned out to be one of the rewards for becoming the Void Godchild. Of course, the Eternal Source given will not be too precious, but the value is also unimaginable. In addition to these 3 major rewards, Yi Tian also has several permissions. First, he can check the basic information of any child of the Void. Second, he can comprehend the Void Origin Monument if he wants to line up, and only 250 points are needed for each enlightenment, which is half of the points of other children of the Void. Third, he has 3 mobilizations. With the blessing of the source power of the Ying Hall, if he attacks, he can save his life, so that he has enough time to return to the Void Source Hall, which is equivalent to 3 life-saving opportunities. Fourth, he has an independent cultivation space in the Void Source Hall, where the training will be very safe. If Yi Tian becomes a second-class invincible in the future and cannot stay in the foreign world, he can practice in the cultivation space of the Void Origin Hall. Seeing these rewards and permissions, Yi Tian was extremely excited. Being the Void Godson, there are so many benefits. Yi Tian said excitedly. Chapter 1568 Eternal Source, All Things Yang. Yi Tian became the Void God Son, although he couldn't check the information of other Void God Sons, but he knew the number of Void God Sons. In the Void Origin Hall, it is not that there are no Void God Sons, but ordinary Void God Sons are not qualified to know the identity of Void God Sons, and many Void God Sons are too old, and they do not need Void Source Monument, so other Void Sons think that Void God Son is the source of Void Source. There is no Son of Void in the temple. 39 Void God Sons. Yi Tian checked it out, and was a little surprised. It has to be said that there are still quite a lot of Void God Sons, but when one thinks that this is the number of Void God Sons from the entire Origin Sea, there are not many. I am afraid that multiple eternal heaven and earth can give birth to a Void God Son. Afterwards, he checked the information of the Void Korean God Son. There are many children of the Void, with a total of 59,813 people, which is close to 60,000 children of the Void. If it hadn't become the Void God Child, Yi Tian would have a hard time imagining that there would be so many Void children in the Source Sea. Investigate Akiba Genshin. Yi Tian mobilized his authority to investigate Akiba Genshin. Soon, he found out that Akiba Genshin was indeed the son of the Void, and he did not become the son of the Void. Obviously, although Chuya Yuenshin has condensed the Void Source Body, the Void Source Body has a bit of a defect, and the foundation is not very deep, which makes it impossible to pass through the second floor of the Void Tower, but it should be very close to the Void God Son. Source C, Yuanji Abyss. A first-class invincible man was cultivating on a certain floor when he suddenly opened his eyes. Another Void God Child was born. How long has it been since the Void God Child was born? I remember that I was the 36th Void God Child. After 300,000 kalpas, another Void God Child has not been born. 1. The man muttered. At the same time, every Void God Child from all over the Source Sea learned that another Void God Child was born. However, they don't know the identity of this Void God Son or what realm it is, so it is very difficult to investigate. Of course, they are not in a hurry to know the identity of the Void God Son, there is no need to investigate. And on the side of the Void Origin Hall, Yi Tian also began to choose his own source and eternal source. This is his reward, although he can take it away in a hurry, he does not need to wait. Origin Tool, Yi Tian is not going to use the Defense Origin Tool. Although the Defense Origin Tool has a very good life-saving ability, he has 3 chances to save his life. Even the Supremes cannot kill him, so there is no need to choose the Defense Origin Tool. As for the Attack-type Source Tool, although it is very good, Yi Tian's cultivation base has not reached the realm of the Supreme. Although the Attack-type Source Tool has helped him well, it has not been improved several times at once. The clone body will not be allowed to fight with an Attack-type Source device. If the clone body falls, the Attack-type Source device will be lost. Considering many factors, Yi Tian decided to choose an Escape-type Source. In this case, even if he does encounter danger in the future, his body may not need to use a life-saving opportunity but can escape directly through the escape source. Tool Spirit, filter out the source of escape class. Yi Tian said. Wow, a piece of source artifact phantom appeared in front of Yi Tian, and there were probably dozens of escape-type source artifact. Golden Thunder Origin Wing. Instantly increases the speed dozens of times, ignoring the blockade. The disadvantage is that it consumes a lot of power, and even after use, there will be a period of weakness. Black Aurora Shuttle. Increases the speed by 100 times, ignores the blockade, consumes little but cannot control the direction. Phantom 1000 Machines. Forming countless shadows, drilling into different time and space, it is difficult for the enemy to find his true body. Yi Tian looked at the source device above, and was very moved. If all these source tools belonged to him, how terrifying his life-saving ability would be, even the Supreme Being with more means would not be able to kill him. However, he could only choose one. After choosing for a long time, Yi Tian chose the source device of the Black Aurora Shuttle. Although it can't control the direction, it can only run away with Yi Tian in one direction, but as long as it can escape, he will have enough time to activate the Void God Child badge, cross the long distance of the Source Sea, and return to the Void Origin Hall. Therefore, the Black Aurora Shuttle is more important and suitable for him. Tooling, I choose the Black Aurora Shuttle. Ask for flowers. Yi Tian chose to say. Wow, the phantom of the Black Aurora Shuttle became more and more solid, and finally the real Black Aurora Shuttle fell into Yi Tian's hands like a black shuttle and became his source. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to choose the eternal source. The Void Origin Hall artifact spirit lists a lot of eternal sources, but they are all eternal sources ranked after 1000, and they are incomparable to the value of the Void Golden Mountain. Now, he already knows that every eternal source has a certain special value. For example, Shu Mi Jinshan can give birth to Shu Mi golden fruit, and the spiritual blue gold of Tianfenghai can exercise spiritual strength and enhance soul strength. Yi Tian is going to choose an eternal source that can increase the strength of the human race, so that the human race can become stronger. Unexpected, an eternal source caught Yi Tian's attention. Eternal source, all things yang. This eternal source looks like a sun on the outside, but it is a rather extraordinary eternal source. It continuously radiates the yang energy of all things, and can slowly change the blood, flesh and potential of the surrounding creatures, but it can only be used for weak the creatures are helpful, and it has almost no effect on the creatures above the ancestors. Moreover, myriad yang cannot give birth to any good things, and treasures like Shu Mi golden fruit are even more forgotten. Furthermore, myriad sun will continuously radiate myriad sun's energy, which means that it will consume its own strength, and it needs to provide energy for myriad sun on a regular basis. Otherwise, after a long period of time, it will fall into silence and become an ordinary sun. Because of this, the yang of all things is relatively common among the eternal sources, ranking only 3987. However, the yang of all things is a treasure that far surpasses other eternal sources for a race. Artifact spirit, I choose myriad yang. Yi Tian said excitedly. With the eternal source of all things yang, the human race is afraid that in terms of potential and life essence, it will be comparable to some powerful races in the eternal world in the future. At that time, the human race is afraid that after a long time, many invincibles will be born, and they will truly become a powerful race that can enter the source sea, rather than an ordinary race in an exotic world. For Yi Tian, the value of all things yang is enough to surpass the eternal source of Shu Mi Jinshan. Chapter 1569 Breakthrough, Second Class Invincible. With one Wanyang in hand, Yi Tian left the Void Origin Hall and returned to the Forbidden Area of Darkness. As the birthplace of Yi Tian, the Dark Forbidden region naturally attaches great importance to heaven and earth. In the future, he is very sure to be promoted to invincible. If he cultivates two more supreme beings, the Dark Forbidden region can be promoted to eternal heaven and earth. But if there are no special circumstances, there is no hope for the birth of the other two supreme beings in the Dark Forbidden area, but one yang can change the human race's potential and physique, etc., which gives the human race a glimmer of hope. Coupled with his help, it is not impossible for two supreme beings to be born in the future. Dark Forbidden Area. Yi Tian placed the yang of everything in the center of the Forbidden Area of Darkness, and radiated the yang of everything to illuminate the entire Forbidden Area of Darkness. In addition, he sealed off the area where Wanyang is located, and did not allow any human beings to approach this place, and the invincible clone sat here. As for Shu Mi Jinshan, he didn't pay much attention to it. Under the influence of all things yang, the human race has undergone tremendous changes. In a world of human race, a child was born, and as soon as he was born, he was comparable to a powerful warrior. The locals thought the child was the reincarnation of some great power, but then they discovered that all newborn children were like this. In addition, some ordinary people have also found that their strength has improved by leaps and bounds, their bodies are getting stronger and stronger, and some disabled people have returned to normal. Many people are puzzled, thinking that a special change has taken place in the world. But the high-level people are very clear that this change is not limited to one world, but affects the entire Dark Forbidden Area. Through the high-level human race, many people know the reason for the change. It is the strongest human race, Yi Tian, who has brought a treasure, which can change the potential and foundation of the human race, make future generations stronger, and finally compare to the eternal world, powerful race. Immediately, the human race was boiling, and countless people were excited, and even began to cultivate a large number of offspring, thus making the family stronger. In addition, this influence is ongoing. As long as it is the human race under the ancestors, it will become stronger and stronger under the influence of myriad yang, and its potential will become more and more terrifying. It's time to hit the second-class invincible realm. Yi Tian decided. He has been procrastinating in the third-class invincible realm for a long time, and it is meaningless to continue to procrastinate. He can hardly continue to improve now, and must break through the realm. As for the safety of the Dark Forbidden Area, he doesn't need to worry too much. Although the second-class invincible cannot enter the foreign world, if the Dark Forbidden Area is really dangerous, the invincible clone has not broken through to the second-class invincible realm, and can still sit in the Dark Forbidden domain. This invincible clone, he plans to stay in the third-class invincible realm, will never be promoted, unless the dark forbidden area is promoted to the eternal world one day. The invincible clone will continue to break through. Yi Tian did not choose to break through in the dark forbidden area, but chose to break through in his own cultivation space in the Void Origin Hall. Void Origin Hall, practice space. Yi Tian began to practice retreat here, allowing his soul to practice in the tribulation realm. Today, his soul is extremely powerful, and it is naturally very easy to cultivate in the robbery. Start the first soul tribulation. Yi Tian's soul began to endure the regular thunder, regular flames, regular wind knives from heaven and earth, but these attacks were like tickles to Yi Tian. Soon, the first tribulation was over. At this time, in terms of soul tribulation realm, he is now in soul tribulation realm. After resting for a while, Yi Tian started to transcend the tribulation for the second time. The second time to cross the robbery, Yi Tian is also very easy. After all, how powerful his soul is, it is much stronger than many invincibles who have been promoted to the soul robbery realm. 3 tribulations, 4 tribulations. It didn't take too long. Yi Tian completed 9 tribulations and became the 9 tribulations realm of soul, which was at the same level of tribulation realm as the 9 tribulations realm of the physical body. Breaking through from the 9 tribulations realm of the soul to the invincible realm is very simple for Yi Tian, but it also needs to consume a lot of resources. I saw that Yi Tian had prepared a lot of robbery stones and absorbed the energy of the robbery stones to help him break the shackles and be promoted to the realm of invincible souls. Boom! The soul breaks through and crosses to the realm of the invincible, and the soul at this time can be called the invincible and indestructible soul. If the 6th level invincible and indestructible soul wants to be promoted to the 3rd level invincible and indestructible soul, the difficulty is very huge, but Yi Tian's own realm is in the 3rd level invincible realm, so he can quickly upgrade to the 3rd level invincible realm. Of course, the invincible soul can also practice the invincible body robbing method. After all, the soul invincible robbing body is also a kind of invincible robbing body. Therefore, Yi Tian let the soul rob the body to cultivate the endless source body, the void source body method. Yi Tian has already practiced the endless source body, so letting the soul cultivate the endless source body will not consume the energy of the eternal source and the void source crystal, otherwise Yi Tian will have to continue to search for the void source crystal. The next years are very simple, just consume a lot of resources to cultivate. With his contribution value in Tianfenghai, it is enough to exchange a large amount of resources to meet his own cultivation needs, and there will be no shortage of resources at all. In just one big robbery period, Yi Tian successfully cultivated his soul to the extreme realm of the 3rd class invincible, and reached the same level with his body. The 3rd class invincible person in the physical robbery realm, and the 3rd class invincible person in the soul robbery realm. When both tribulation realms reach this level, the transformation begins. I saw that Yi Tian's soul and body seemed to have broken the shackles, and it seemed that 5.8 had greatly increased the limit under the influence of mutual influence. Afterwards, Yi Tian absorbed countless resources, whether it was his body or his soul, it suddenly skyrocketed many times. At this moment, he is already a 2nd class invincible. When he cultivates his body and soul to the limit of a 2nd class invincible, he can try to perfectly integrate the physical and soul robbery, so as to enter the realm of the 1st class invincible. But this step is bound to be difficult and takes a long time. With my current strength, even many first-class invincibles are not my opponents. Yi Tian thought to himself. As he just broke through, he still has a lot of room for improvement. Therefore, Tian did not seal the exit, but continued to practice. Moreover, his body doesn't need to go out, he can just copy his body and act in the outside world. Chapter 1570 Influence of the Void God Sun. Having become a 2nd class invincible, and his body has entered the Void Origin Hall, Yi Tian is not worried about his identity being discovered. He is going to comprehend the Void Origin Monument, and his current points are enough to comprehend a long time. Moreover, even if he went to comprehend the Void Origin Monument, he could hide his identity. Others only knew that there was a Void God Sun who occupied a comprehension quota on the Void Origin Monument, but they didn't know who that Void God Sun was. So, Yi Tian put on a hijacking mask that could cover his breath, and waited for some years. The last batch of Void Suns who comprehended the Void Origin Monument came out. Enter. Yi Tian followed the next batch of Void Suns into the space where he realized the Void Origin Monument in an instant. Artifact, why didn't I enter? A son of the Void roared in the Void Origin Hall. He finally waited for a long time, and after collecting 500 points, it was finally his turn to learn about the Void Origin Monument. Unexpectedly, the other 9 void children entered, and he was the only one left here. At this time, the artifact spirit of the Void Origin Hall said, "A void godchild occupies your place, you can only wait for the next big robbery time." "What, void godchild?" The son of the void was shocked. He does know the title of the void godchild, a monster above the void godchild, but he has never seen the void godchild, and he even thinks that the void godchild does not exist. Unexpectedly, a void godson appeared and occupied his place. He needed to wait for another big robbery time. Is it lucky or unlucky? In front of the Void Origin Monument, the other 9 sons of the Void saw Yi Tian, and their expressions changed slightly. Before, 10 Void sons were waiting to enter, not Yi Tian, but another Void son. That Void son couldn't suddenly put on a mask, because it was unnecessary. In other words, Yi Tian suddenly jumped into the queue to enter here. He is the Void Godson. This idea came to the minds of the 9 sons of the Void. "Is your excellency the son of Void?" a son of the Void asked. Yi Tian ignored them, but entered a small space and began to comprehend the Void Origin Monument. Seeing that Yi Tian was so cold and wearing a mask, the other sons of the Void obviously didn't want to reveal their identity, because they didn't say anything, so they went to learn about the Void Origin Monument one after another. This time, Yi Tian came here to comprehend the Void Origin Monument for several main purposes. The first is to comprehend more eternal rules, which will be of great benefit to the creation of supreme ancestral skills in the future. The second is to continue to study the infinite source body. Although he created the endless source body, he only created the method of cohesion of the endless source body, and the use of the endless source body is very shallow, so he needs to continue to comprehend the Void Source Monument and try to combine the endless source body with a door. The door invincible ancestral skills are combined to exert a more powerful effect. In a flash, a great robbery time passed. The other 9 sons of the Void were all removed, leaving only Yi Tian alone. There is no time limit for him to comprehend the Void Origin Monument. If he wants to comprehend, he can continue to comprehend it. Unless there are multiple Void Godsons comprehending here at the same time, the time for Void Godson will be limited. But now, only Yi Tian, a godchild of the Void, is here to comprehend, and naturally he will not let Yi Tian leave. Soon, the other 9 sons of the Void came here, and one of them was the son of the Void who was occupied by Yi Tian last time. The son of the Void was not surprised to see that Yi Tian had already comprehended the Void Origin Monument here. He has long known that a Void Godchild has occupied his place. This Void Godchild has not left here, and it is very normal to continue to comprehend here. But the other sons of the Void were stunned. Who is this son of the Void? They wondered. He should be a son of the Void. The son of the Void who knew the situation communicated to the other sons of the Void. What, Void Godson? The 9 sons of the Void were shocked. Outside world, the 9 sons of the Void came out of the Void Source Monument space, and soon began to publicize a Void Godchild in the Void Source Hall to understand the Void Source Monument, and the news spread quickly. Immediately, all the children of the Void in the Eternal World knew. T-Online Realm. Akiba Genshin also inquired about the news of the Void Godson appearing in the Void Source Hall to comprehend the Void Source Monument. Void Godson, it's a pity that I can only become a Void Godson, but my Void Source body is not perfect, the foundation has been established, and it cannot be changed. This Void Godson should be a new Void Godson. Those ancient Void Godsons no longer see the opportunity of Void Origin Palace. For them, the greatest benefit of Void Origin Palace can be used to travel. Void Origin Monument it doesn't help them much, and the Void Origin Hall has no other chance. Unless they can become the Void Lord of the Void Origin Hall, they will get amazing opportunities, but it is almost impossible to become the Void Lord. Akiba Genshin knew a lot about the Void Godchild, and even knew a Void Godchild who was much stronger than him, so from the Void Godchild, he also learned the secrets about the Void Godchild. The Void Origin Hall is indeed one of the great opportunities of the Origin Sea, but in the entire Origin Sea, there is no chance to rival or even surpass the Void Origin Hall. However, ordinary 767 Invincibles simply can't learn too much of the secrets about the Source Sea, and only the Supreme can access many secrets. The Supreme Being is the real start of Yuan. One after another great robbery time passed, and the sons of the Void who comprehended the Void Origin Monument changed wave after wave, and Yi Tian has been comprehending here, making many sons of the Void envious. If it was them, how could there be so many points? Before he knew it, Yi Tian had already comprehended more than 20 years of the Great Tribulation. At this time, his understanding of the eternal rules had reached a terrifying level. For him, creating an invincible ancestral skill was as simple as creating an ordinary martial skill. He has created countless invincible ancestral skills, and now creating invincible ancestral skills will not help him much. After so long of comprehension, his cultivation has not improved much, but he has achieved perfect control over the endless source body, and he can even combine the invincible ancestral skills with the endless source body to exert the most powerful strength. It's time to leave, it's just a waste of time to continue to comprehend. Yi Tian muttered. He went out from here and entered the Void Tower. He needs a long battle to completely integrate his perception and harvest. Dark Forbidden Area. On this day, a big event happened to the human race. Chapter 1571 The Genius of the Yi Family who merged with the source of the eternal source. Human race, Yi Family. The Yi family is the largest clan of the human race, and it is the bloodline born from Yi Xingqian's line. As the only son of Yi Tian, Yi Xingqian has always been very hardworking, so there are not many children born, but he can't stand the following. The Yi family is so prolific. In addition, as long as the Yi family has good talent, almost everyone can live forever, so gradually, the number of Yi family members increases. And in this era, a real evil spirit was born in the Yi family. The genius of the Yi family is very senior, and he is not very far from Yi Xingqian's seniority. He is the great-grandson of Yi Xingqian's third son, reached the peak realm of the ancestors of the supreme domain. Moreover, when he was at the peak of the supreme ancestor, his combat power was not weaker than that of the general ancestor. But now, this genius of the Yi family has broken through to the realm of the ancestors. If you become the first ancestor, you are qualified to become the backbone of the human race. If you don't become the first ancestor, you are not qualified to be noticed by the high level of the human race. No matter how monstrous the genius is, as long as he can't get into the ancestor, it doesn't make any sense. Even in this era, it is difficult to become the ancestor. As soon as the genius of the Yi family entered the ancestor, he challenged a top elite ancestor, and won a battle, and his record was not weaker than the former Yi Tian. Of course, Yi Tian lacked inheritance at that time, and now the human race does not lack inheritance, it is too easy to improve the strength, so the two cannot be compared. But even so, this incident shocked the entire human race. Many senior leaders of the human race believed that the genius of the Yi family had the hope of becoming the invincible ancestor, and even Yi Xingqian went out and summoned the descendants of the Yi family in person. Yi Jinpeng was a little nervous. This time it was Yi Xingqian's ancestor who wanted to see him. This was his grandfather. Although Yi Xingqian's grandfather's strength is not as strong as Yi Tian, the true ancestor of the Yi family, his strength is also incomparably strong. Soon, Yi Xingqian came. I've seen my grandfather. Yi Jinpeng knocked on the door. Jinpeng, you are very good. Yi Xingqian praised. Thank you grandfather for your praise. Yi Jinpeng was quite excited. Yi Xingqian continued. Your talent is much better than mine. The reason why I can become the 6th-class invincible ancestor is entirely because of the help of my father. Without the help of my father, I am afraid that it will be difficult to become the first ancestor. However, the cultivation environment of the human race is much better than before, and it is not difficult to become the ancestor. But the ordinary ancestor, the elite ancestor and the top ancestor are all just starting, even the strong ancestor is just starting, only by becoming the invincible ancestor can qualify to go to eternal world. Yi Jinpeng listened carefully. Yi Xingqian continued. With my talent, I'm afraid I won't be able to guide you too much, but our Yi family has never given birth to a genius as talented as you. I'm going to inform my father and let my father guide you. Let the ancestors guide me. Yi Jinpeng was extremely excited. He grew up listening to the legend of his ancestors. If there were no ancestors, there would be no Yi family today, let alone the glory of the human race today. Legend has it that the strength of the ancestor Yi Tian far surpassed that of the grandfather Yi Xingqian. Even in the eternal world, it is an extremely powerful existence. Thank you grandpa, Yi Jinpeng said gratefully. Soon, Yi Xingqian sent a message to Yi Tian's invincible ancestor clone who was guarding the dark forbidden area. The Yi family gave birth to a genius. The speed of cultivation is very fast, the foundation is extremely solid, and just after breaking through to the realm of the ancestors, can he defeat the ancestors of the top elites? Yi Tian was a little surprised. He really needs to meet such a talented junior. Maybe in the future, under his training, this Yi family junior is qualified to become a supreme ancestor. Wow, Yi Tian shuttled over and came to Yi Xingqian. Father, this is Jinpeng, Qier's great-grandson. Yi Xingqian introduced. Qier's great-grandson. Yi Tian naturally knows that his grandson Yi Qi, Yi Qi's great-grandson, is his own bloodline, and the relationship is more appropriate. So, Yi Tian looked at Yi Jinpeng carefully. But after looking at it, he saw that something was wrong. Xingchen, you go out first. Yi Tian ordered. Yi Xingchen noticed something was wrong, but left without asking anything. At this time, Yi Tian put a hand on Yi Jinpeng's shoulder, and probed into Yi Jinpeng's body. Sure enough, Yi Tian secretly said, no matter how stupid Yi Jinpeng was, he knew that his secret had been discovered by the ancestors, and he was suddenly worried. He has not always been such a genius, but when he was very weak, he accidentally encountered a group of light, and then merged with this group of light, and this group of light occasionally sent some information to him to guide him in the direction of cultivation. Under the guidance of this group of light, he can be promoted all the way to the ancestor realm. However, this group of light won't answer him too many questions, and he needs to explore many things by himself. However, he feels that this group of light is a great opportunity, and its origin is extremely mysterious. After all, even he has entered the realm of the ancestors, and he is completely clueless about this group of lights, even the grandfather of the 6th class invincible ancestor realm. Can't find the light group in the body. Unexpectedly, the ancestors discovered it. Now that the ancestor found out, Yi Jinpeng didn't dare to hide it. Even if the ancestor really wanted to greedy his chance, he couldn't do anything about it. Ancestor, I confess, Yi Jinpeng said quickly. I have become so talented, not because of how good my talent is, and I have obtained a group of light. Yi Tian let go of his hand and said, do you know what that light group is? Not very clear. Yi Jinpeng shook his head. Yi Tian said, I just had a light group for a while, and the light didn't speak to us, I just listened. In fact, a certain secret eternal source I source, but a strong original source is trying to be reborn. A mysterious eternal source or Shu fits your physique and soul, so it chooses you. Strictly speaking, the stronger your strength is, the stronger the consciousness will recover little by little, until one day it completely occupies your consciousness, or merges with your consciousness, which is another kind of rebirth. After all, strictly speaking, the other party has fallen, and can only use this method to continue the consciousness and survive. At that time, if you are the dominant consciousness, then you are still you, but if the other party is the dominant consciousness, then you are no longer you. And what you have experienced is not worth mentioning compared to the other party, and it is more likely that the other party is the dominant consciousness. In fact, Yi Tian was also a little surprised. At the level of the first ancestor, it was almost impossible to seize the house, but the source of the mysterious eternal source was assimilating Yi Jinpeng's soul source, so this provided the condition for the consciousness to seize the house. Quote. What, old ancestor, is what you said true? Yi Jinpeng panicked. I'll take you to a place. Yi Tian grabbed Yi Jinpeng and headed to the core area of the forbidden area of darkness, that is, the place where everything is yang. There's big horror out there. Yi Jinpeng was very nervous. He knew that there was a treasure land in the middle of the human race, but every time he wanted to go there, a terrifying emotion would come from the light group in his body, so he had never been to Wanwanyang where the core area of the human race was located. But at this moment, he was a little strange, he did not feel the emotion of great terror. Arrive. Yi Tian took Yi Jinpeng to stand not far from the eternal source of Wanwanyang. This is the powerful secret of the human race in this era, the eternal source of all things yang. I brought back all things yang, so the people of the human race have undergone qualitative changes in blood, flesh, and soul, and even the strength of children is comparable to before. Powerful warrior. You can feel it carefully. Is the source aura of Wanwanyang Jiao Wangjiao similar to the light group in your body? Yi Tian asked. Yi Jinpeng really felt Lu. It's really about the same. Yi Jinpeng was shocked. He now believes what the ancestor said, and compared with the source of all things yang, the light group in his body is very weak. Old ancestor can even get Wanwanyang, so naturally it is impossible for him to covet his chance. At this time, Yi Tian gave Yi Jinpeng two choices. Jinpeng, I will now give you two options to choose from. You can merge with the source of the eternal source. This is something that has almost never happened, even I have heard that weak creatures can merge with the source of the eternal source. Even if it is only a little, it is a great opportunity. Because of this, your physique has become very special, a bit similar to the source body, but it is far inferior to the source body. If you are willing to continue to keep the origin of this group, there will be many unknowns in the future, but it is also very likely that you will advance by leaps and bounds and become a truly powerful existence. The second option is to let me destroy the light group in your body. However, no matter what in either case, I will take away the mysterious and incomplete consciousness in your body, and I will not let it affect you. Old ancestor, I choose the first way. Yi Jinping decided. Chapter 1572 Mysterious Consciousness. Yi Jinping thought very clearly that if he lost the light group, he would become very ordinary, so he was unwilling to give up. As for the incomplete powerhouse consciousness in the source of the eternal source, he really did not dare to keep it on his body, so it was naturally the best situation for the ancestor to be able to extract the powerhouse consciousness. Immediately, Yi Tian started to do it. The eternal rules turned into chains and penetrated into Yi Jinping's body. At the same time, Yi Tian mobilized the power of the eternal source of Wan Wanyang to suppress the source of the eternal source in Yi Jinping's body. In terms of grades, the source of the eternal source on Yi Jinping's body is definitely far beyond the myriad sun and even far beyond the Shuemai Jinshan. There's no threat. Boom, many eternal rules turned into a palm, caught in the source of the eternal source. Yi Tian's control of the eternal rules far surpasses other invincibles, and even far exceeds many supremes, to an unbelievable level. Therefore, he naturally other supreme beings may not be able to handle Yi Jinping's problem well, but he can handle it well. In Yi Jinping's body, in the source of the eternal source, in an area, a consciousness finally awakened completely in a crisis situation. Before 767, he just instinctively guided Yi Jinping to practice, but he didn't really wake up. After all, he only had a broken consciousness, and his body had fallen. But now, he had to wake up. Who is it? The mysterious consciousness was extremely angry. But when he saw Yi Tian's eternal rule palm grabbing towards him, he panicked. It was discovered. Mysterious consciousness is extremely desperate. He finally found a target, and he was only located in a foreign world. How could he be discovered by the powerful Supreme? Besides, even ordinary Supreme beings would be hard-pressed to find him. Indeed, ordinary supreme beings may not be able to discover him, but Yi Tian condensed the source body of the void, and is too sensitive to the source breath of the eternal source, and has a deep understanding of the eternal rules. In addition, Yi Jinping is his descendant, and he is related by blood, so he can understand the condition of Yi Jinping's body. It has to be said that this mysterious consciousness is somewhat unlucky. Just ideology, without much power, he couldn't stop Yi Tian at all. Wow, the big hand of the eternal rule grabbed the mysterious consciousness from the source of the eternal source and immediately sealed it. Nailed it, Yi Tian said. CJFI. Yi Jinping felt very comfortable at this moment, as if the mysterious light group could be completely under his control. He could also feel that he was merging with the mysterious light group step by step. At present, he has only merged to a degree of less than 1/10,000th. It seems that the mysterious light group was controlled by the mysterious consciousness before, but now the mysterious consciousness has been captured by the ancestors, and the light group really belongs to me. The ancestors are really amazing. Yi Jinping thought to himself. Thank you, old man, Yi Jinping said gratefully. Yi Tian smiled slightly. Okay, from now on, you can take a good look at the source of the eternal source in your body. If there is any special situation, remember to inform me in time. Yes, old man, Yi Jinping replied. Suddenly, Yi Tian reminded again, the eternal source in your body tends to the soul rule system. In the future, you can major in the soul rule. You are now walking the physical way, which is strictly not suitable. The human race temple has complete the soul path. After you have stepped into the third step of the strongest, you can take the soul robbery path and be promoted to the invincible ancestor realm from the soul robbery realm. Yi Jinping's expression changed. No wonder it was so easy to cultivate the soul secret technique, soul holy technique, and ancestral technique. It turned out that he should take the path of the soul. As for why the mysterious consciousness did not guide him to take the path of the soul, it is estimated that the mysterious consciousness did not understand the situation, and the mysterious consciousness also took the path of the flesh, so it instinctively guided him to take the path of the flesh. Grandpa, I understand. Yi Jinping nodded and left immediately. After Yi Jinping left, Yi Tian looked at the mysterious consciousness that was sealed in his hand. For him, the source of the eternal source is not of high value, and it is this mysterious consciousness that is truly valuable. Moreover, he really wanted to know why his younger generation was able to integrate the origin of the eternal source. Virtual Golden Mountain. Yi Tian came here and entrusted the mysterious consciousness here, otherwise without the nourishment of the eternal source, the mysterious consciousness could not be preserved for too long. Certainly, even the virtual Golden Mountain cannot preserve the mysterious consciousness for too long. After all, the virtual Golden Mountain cannot preserve the incomplete consciousness. But in a big robbery time, he can guarantee that the mysterious consciousness will not dissipate. Boom! Yi Tian entered the consciousness space of mysterious consciousness and saw a human figure. Seeing Yi Tian, this humanoid figure roared angrily, "You sabotaged my plan." Yes. Yi Tian nodded. Mysterious consciousness stared at Yi Tian for a while, and said coldly, "I thought it was some powerful supreme who caught me, but I didn't expect it to be a third-class invincible. Your mastery has reached such an incredible level, surpassing many supreme beings, it seems that you have a good chance." 1. Yi Tian did not deny it, but continued, "Who are you, and how did you make the source of the eternal source merge with my younger generation? Which eternal source did the source of the eternal source come from? Unless you help me get back to that person and help me merge with that person, then, I will tell you everything you want to know, otherwise, I will not say anything." Mysterious consciousness said. "Your consciousness can't survive forever. It's just what you said to continue your consciousness, but it's impossible to occupy my junior's body." Yi Tian refused. The mysterious consciousness seemed to be very angry, and roared again, continuing consciousness. "Do you know how difficult it is to continue consciousness? Even the mysterious eternal source cannot help me to continue my consciousness. I finally found a sustenance body, endless years. After searching for it, I found one, maybe there is no second one, but you destroyed it. Apart from integrating with your junior, there is no other way to continue the consciousness." Yi Tian was too lazy to communicate with this mysterious consciousness, and it was obviously impossible for the other party to answer any questions. Now there is only one way left, and that is to forcibly strip away the memory of the mysterious consciousness. But that mysterious consciousness is very powerful, and it can endure endless years, and can also maintain memory and reason. It is conceivable how powerful the other party is when he is alive. Therefore, if you want to strip the other party's consciousness and let the other party have no time to annihilate themselves, there must be a special method. You must trade for a soul source that can instantly strip the opponent's consciousness. Yi Tian thought to himself. But the soul source is so precious, even many supreme people do not have it. You can only choose to trade, and use the Void Origin Hall's points to offer a reward for a soul source that can strip the consciousness of the strong. Yi Tian decided. From the memory of a supreme being at least, its value itself is huge, so if he does this, he will never lose money in the end. Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian released information to all the children of the Void in the name of the Son of the Void, and publicly offered a reward to collect the soul source, and the price was 50,000 points. Soon, in the Source Sea, many children of the Void were shocked by this news. Chapter 1573 The Degree of Fit with the Origin of the Eternal Source. The 50,000 points of the Void Origin Hall is not a small amount. Even the Supreme Person wants to collect some points. Moreover, many powerful Supreme Void Sons also need points. After all, the Void Origin Monument is still useful to them. In addition, some children of the Void have top Supreme figures behind them as backers or elders, and they will ask their elders to obtain points for themselves, and this time is an opportunity. If they get 50,000 points, they are enough to rise completely. The reason why Yi Tian is willing to pay 50,000 points is that he has too many points now. He gained 30,000 points by condensing the Void Origin body, 30,000 points when he passed the second floor of the Void Tower, and one more when he became a Void God, million points. From these alone, he has obtained 70,000 points, and although he has spent some points, even if he spends another 50,000 points, he still has a lot of points left, enough for him to use. Moreover, the knowledge contained in the mysterious consciousness must be very amazing. If it is a real top-notch person, he has no way to kill the other party, and even if he can kill the other party, there is no chance to capture the other party's consciousness. Consciousness will soon dissipate, forcibly condensing consciousness, and not much memory can be obtained. Therefore, the value of this special mysterious consciousness is too great, enough for him to pay 50,000 points. T-Online Realm. Akiba Yuanzhu also knew about the reward of 50,000 points, and I have to say that he also needs 50,000 points. Even if he doesn't need it, his faction has some children of the Void, which can be used to train them. Unfortunately, I don't have a soul source. Akiba Genzu shook his head and said. Many children of the Void or Supreme Beings are also like Akiba Yuanzhu, who are very eager for 50,000 points, but without the soul source, they can't get these 50,000 points at all. Time passed slowly. Finally on the 10th day, a son of the Void came to the Void Origin Hall and wanted to contact Yi Tian through the item spirit of the Void Origin Hall. Finally someone contacted me. Yi Tian was a little excited, and immediately met the son of the Void. Anyway, meeting with the other party in the Void Origin Hall. No matter how powerful the other party is, it will not threaten him. Yi Tian was still wearing a mask to hide his breath and was unwilling to reveal his true identity, but the other party did not hide his identity. Therefore, Yi Tian recognized the other party for the first time. Son of the Void, Bai Lun. This is a son of the Void in the Supreme Realm, and his strength is naturally far beyond Yi Tian. Yi Tian and Bai Lun, son of the Void, did not say anything nonsense, and directly traded. I saw Bai Lun took out a treasure like a blue water drop, and introduced, this is the source water soul. Once activated, it can instantly freeze the consciousness of the soul and strip the opponent's memory, but if the opponent is stronger than you still can't easily strip the other person's consciousness. What if the strength far surpasses me, but there are only soul fragments left? Yi Tian asked. Can do. Bai Lun nodded. Very good, then let's trade. Yi Tian said. Soon, Yi Tian transferred 50,000 points to the opponent, and the source water soul fell into Yi Tian's hands. The deal was done, and Bai Lun left. On the other hand, Yi Tian started refining the source artifact in the Void Origin Hall. With his current second-class invincible realm, refining the source artifact is much easier than in the past. After a period of time, Yi Tian refined the water soul source and controlled it freely. In addition, he also found some robbing beasts and tested the water soul source device to ensure that he could use the water soul source device proficiently. Afterwards, he gave the water soul source to the invincible ancestor avatar, and the invincible ancestor avatar was the same as the main body soul, but the cultivation base stayed in the third-class invincible realm, so there was no problem in using the water soul source. Virtual Golden Mountain. Yi Tian came here with the water soul source and entered the consciousness space of mysterious consciousness. The mysterious consciousness saw Yi Tian, and angrily said, Damn guy, you are here again. I said, if you don't fuse me with your junior, I won't say anything you want to know. I came this time to discuss with you. I can agree to your request, but... Yi Tian said, but what? Mysterious consciousness excitedly asked. At the moment when the mysterious consciousness was excited, Yi Tian started. He deliberately caused the excitement of the mysterious consciousness, because he was afraid that the mysterious consciousness would instantly annihilate his own consciousness, thus causing him to fail. And the excitement that caused the mysterious consciousness, he will not annihilate his soul in an instant, even if he reacts, it will take a little time to change his mentality. In the consciousness space, a drop of water appeared, instantly freezing this consciousness space. And the figure transformed by the mysterious consciousness was also frozen, and there was a trace of anger on his expression, but he didn't have time to do other things. Extract memory. Yi Tian urged the water soul source to transform into countless white silk rays of light pouring into the depths of the mysterious consciousness, extracting a large amount of memory and passing it to Yi Tian's hand, turning it into a group of memory fragments. For flowers. As time passed, more and more memories were extracted by the water soul source, but Yi Tian was also consuming a lot, and the mysterious consciousness was also resisting. It has to be said that the strength of that mysterious consciousness was indeed very strong. Even if only a broken consciousness was left, it could still shake the water soul source. If Yi Tian's strength was not strong enough, and the control of the eternal rules was deep enough, it would be impossible to suppress it. Live in mystical consciousness. I don't know how long it took. The mysterious consciousness finally collapsed, and Yi Tian couldn't continue to extract the memory. Success. Yi Tian looked at the large amount of memories in front of him and said with satisfaction. In the following years, he began to absorb these memories little by little, to understand the identity and various secrets of this mysterious consciousness. Many useless memories have been eliminated by him, leaving only those useful memories. Of course, these memories are not all memories, but from these memories, Yi Tian has obtained the secret that he wants to know. For example, the reason why his descendant Yi Jinpeng was able to integrate the source of the eternal source is because Yi Jinpeng's soul aptitude is special, and he is a natural source fit. The fit of normal objects is only about %, and there are those who have cultivated to the first-class invincible. After that, create expenses, and then consolidate the eternal robbery, then the fit can be raised to 30% fit. After reaching this degree of fit, coupled with its own strength, it is possible to absorb the origin of the eternal source and forcibly ascend to the realm of the Supreme. However, there is a kind of creature that is naturally 100% compatible with the source of the eternal source. As long as a suitable eternal source is found, it can easily absorb the eternal source, thereby breaking through to the realm of the Supreme, without even needing to condense the eternal robbery and create for the Supreme skill. It is also possible to slowly master the Supreme skill in the eternal robbery after breaking through to the realm of the Supreme Being. And Yi Jinpeng belongs to the eternal source of soul fitness, eternal soul wood. This is a powerful eternal source that ranks in the top 30 of the eternal source, and the mysterious person uses the eternal soul wood. The source has kept his soul consciousness, so as to find a soul fit who fits with the eternal soul wood. Only in this way can the mysterious person be reborn again, even surpassing the peak. In fact, there are not many creatures in the source sea that fit the eternal source, but they can't meet the eternal source that is 100% compatible with themselves in their lives, so they can't discover this special physique. I have to say that Yi Jinpeng is more fortunate, but Yi Tian is even luckier, because the memory of the mysterious person contains a lot of secrets and opportunities. Chapter 1574, The Secret of the Void Origin Palace. The mysterious person is called Jinzu, not an eternal life, but born in the source sea, but a source sea life, has survived for a long time, and his strength is also very strong. I don't know how many times stronger than a supreme being like Tianfeng Yuanshan. However, Jinzu still encountered danger, was besieged by many strong men, and was severely injured, and his injuries were almost irrecoverable. Under the condition of certain death, he extracted a bit of the source of the eternal soul wood from his body, fused it with his own will, and began to wander in the exotic worlds one by one. Because it is will, it is not restricted by the foreign world, wandering for endless years. When it is difficult to maintain his own will, he finally found Yi Jinpeng. According to memory, Jinzu's eternal soul, 767, wood and his body were all thrown into Longs, a Jedi in the Source Sea by him. Longs is an extremely dangerous Jedi in the Source Sea. It does not have the strength of the realm of the Supreme. Once he dares to enter the dragon, he will be annihilated directly, and the Supreme does not dare to step into the dragon. It is difficult to perceive the orientation within Longs. Jinzu also didn't want to cheapen his pursuer, so he was so decisive. Yi Tian wanted to obtain the treasures on Jinzu's body and the eternal soul wood, but his strength was not enough. Even if he could copy his body again and again, it was not necessary, and it was a complete waste of time. After he has stepped into the Supreme Being, he can consider going to Longs. From Jinzu's memory, Yi Tian also learned about many treasures, and the information on these treasures alone is priceless. More importantly, Jinzu also knew the location of the three eternal sources, and they were the eternal sources of Wuju. The birth of the eternal source takes time. Before it is completely born, it is difficult to be discovered, but as the Supreme One, Jinzu can naturally perceive the birth of the eternal source, so the three places were blocked for the first time, only pick up later. Therefore, the three eternal sources should still be there. For Yi Tian, the three eternal sources are also a big harvest. But what Yi Tian was really excited about was that he knew a secret, which was the secret of the first-class invincible attacking the Supreme. The first-class invincibles attack the Supreme, unless they are natural fit, they need to forcibly refine the source of the eternal source, and can only refine one kind of eternal source, so the stronger the eternal source, the better. However, there are several kinds of eternal sources that are quite special. Once they are 100% compatible, they can be easily refined, and they can also be used to refine the origins of other eternal sources. Shock to the realm of the Supreme, and become an extremely terrifying Supreme. And one of these eternal sources is the Void Origin Monument, which was once the eternal source of the Void Origin Ancestor, and the Void Origin Ancestor has reached the peak in the realm of the Supreme Being, and even stepped out of the peak in half a step. It is a pity that in the end, the Void Origin Ancestor fell, but the Void Origin Hall was still left. This is a secret that few people know about. Becoming the Lord of the Void is the final assessment of the Void Origin Ancestor. Once you become the Void Origin Ancestor, you can obtain the inheritance of the Void Origin Ancestor, and use a special method to increase the fit between yourself and the Void Origin Monument to 100%, so that you can absorb the origin of the Void Origin Monument, use the origin of the Void Origin Monument to absorb the origin of other eternal origins, gather a large number of eternal origins, and step into the realm of the Supreme. Therefore, if you want to become the Lord of the Void, you must become the Supreme Being, otherwise, no matter how strong your combat power is, the Void Origin Hall will not be able to let you pass. Therefore, once the Void God Son becomes the Supreme Being, it means that he has lost this opportunity, and he no longer has to go to the Void Origin Hall, and can no longer obtain any benefits. No wonder I couldn't see other Void God Sons in the Void Origin Hall, and I hardly heard their news. It turned out that those Void God Sons were afraid that they knew that they could not get any benefits, so they completely gave up the opportunity of the Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian muttered. There is no master in the Void Origin Hall, so there has not been a Void Lord yet, nor has there been a Void Child who is 100% innately compatible with the Void Origin Monument. Therefore, Yi Tian still has a chance. But it is too difficult to become the Lord of the Void. He went to the third floor of the Void Tower, and he was quickly defeated. It was very difficult to pass. However, now that he has obtained the memory of this Jinzu, he feels that he still has hope. At his level, if he wants to continue to improve at the same level, he cannot greatly improve by relying on the endless source body. There are only two ways. The first method is to create the supreme ancestral skill. The second class invincible can also create the supreme ancestral skill, but it is more difficult. But just relying on the supreme ancestral skills, it is still impossible to break through the third floor of the Void Tower, otherwise the previous Void Godsons would have already passed through. Therefore, it is necessary to rely on the second method, to enhance the physical or spiritual power. In the Source Sea, there are many mysterious treasures, which can strengthen the body and soul. For example, the virtual golden fruit is one of the treasures, but the effect is not too big, and it is useless to eat too much. If you collect enough such treasures, your physical strength can be improved a lot. However, Yi Tian has a better way, that is to find a few invincibles who are 100% compatible with the source of the eternal source, and copying their bodies is equivalent to having their fit, so they can study the fit by themselves. The mystery is that you can find a way to integrate the source of the eternal source, and strengthen your body and soul by fusing all kinds of the source of the eternal source. Just like Yi Jinpeng only merged a little of the source of eternal soul wood, and the strength of his soul is terrifying. Therefore, according to this method, he can also greatly enhance the strength of his body and soul. Moreover, from Jinzu's memory, he knew that some races in the Source Sea possessed the origin of the Town Clan, and their natural compatibility was 100% in line with their origin of the Town Clan. At this time, Yi Tian secretly made a plan, first to find treasures that can strengthen the body, and then to study the fit. Wow! Yi Tian's cloned body passed through the Void Origin Hall, crossed a long distance, and arrived somewhere in the Origin Sea. This time, he came to take away an eternal source here. Chapter 1575 Research Fit, Success. It's here. Yi Tian looked at an island in front of him, determined the specific location, and affirmed. This kind of island is a relatively common place in the Source Sea, but most of the islands are of little value, and almost no resources are produced on it, but for ordinary practitioners, every plant and tree on the island are treasures. After all, due to the influence of the source energy of the Source Sea, the plants and trees that can survive here are naturally extraordinary, but they are of no use to the invincible, and no one will pick them. And ordinary practitioners cannot enter the Source Sea, resulting in almost no attention to the islands of the Source Sea. However, such an island gave birth to an eternal source. At this time, the island has been covered by the great formation arranged by Jinzu, which hides the aura of the eternal source. Even Yi Tian can hardly sense the aura of the eternal source. If he hadn't obtained the memory of Jinzu, he wouldn't have thought that there is an eternal source here. Wow! Yi Tian stepped into the island, tore out a portal according to the way in Jinzu's memory, and walked into the interior of the great formation. As soon as he entered the inside of the mysterious great formation, he saw a thunderstone exuding black thunder. Yi Tian really didn't know what this eternal source was before, because Jinzu didn't know either. After all, before the eternal source was completely born, no one could calculate the specific eternal source. At this time, Yi Tian saw this thunderstone and recognized it. It turned out to be the Black Thunderstone ranked 199th in the eternal source. Yi Tian was quite excited. The value of the Black Thunderstone is incomparably high, although the ranking is not as good as the eternal source of the Shuemai Jinshan, but they are all in more than 100, the gap is not very big. Moreover, the Black Thunderstone can release the power of the source of thunder, and the power of the source of thunder can quench the body. Although the effect of quenching the physique is not as good as the virtual golden fruit, it can always quench the body. Of course, if you use the Black Thunderstone to quench the body all the time, it will consume the original power of the Black Thunderstone. In addition, the Black Thunderstone quenching will hurt the invincible itself, so it needs to prepare a lot of healing things, otherwise it will not be able to play a very good effect. I was thinking about refining my body, and the Black Thunderstone can at least improve my body a little bit. Yi Tian thought. So, he immediately took the Black Thunderstone, and then went to the other two places where the eternal source is located. It is a pity that the two eternal sources have not been fully conceived, so Yi Tian can only choose to give up and wait for the two eternal sources to be taken away in the future. Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian's body got the Black Thunder Stone, and began to use the Black Thunder Stone to temper his physique, and prepared a lot of healing treasures, some of which were exchanged from Tianfenghai and some of them were from the chambers of commerce under the command of some other forces. Purchase income. Then, Yi Tian's body began to practice retreat. At the same time, Yi Tian began to slaughter a large number of robbery beasts, using robbery beasts to exchange for resources, and then to buy treasures that can temper his body and soul. And just like that, long years passed. Before you know it, hundreds of years of great robbery have passed. At this time, the human race gave birth to several invincibles, one of which was Yi Jinpeng, who was already a 5th-class invincible. Compared to Yi Tian, Yi Jinpeng's speed of progress is naturally very slow, but compared with other invincibles, such a speed is terrifying. And in these hundreds of times of great robbery, Yi Tian spent almost all of his net worth, and the countless beasts hunted by the hundreds of great robbery is an astronomical figure, all spent, used to buy a lot of money, a treasure no less than a golden fruit. In the beginning, these treasures had a good effect on him, but if he ate too many treasures like Shu-mi golden fruit, the effect became worse and worse. And Yi Tian's endless source body and cultivation base have been upgraded to the pinnacle of the 2nd-class invincible, and there is no way to continue to improve. In addition, Yi Tian also created the supreme ancestral skill, and through the transformation of his body caused by the supreme ancestral skill, his strength has been enhanced again. The supreme ancestral skills he created are not only one, but many. In order to create top-notch supreme ancestral skills, Yi Tian often went to comprehend the Void Origin Monument and spent all the points in his hand. Today, Yi Tian's strength is much bigger than before. But even so, Yi Tian tried to break into the 3rd floor of the Void Tower, but ultimately failed. There is only one last option left, to study the fit. Yi Tian thought to himself. This day, Yi Tian copied Yi Jinpeng's body, and then began to study Yi Jinpeng's soul. This is equivalent to studying himself. He doesn't even need to care about the damage of his soul. Once the soul collapses, it is a big deal to copy it again. Therefore, even Yi Jinpeng himself did not dare to do so, but Yi Tian dared. This is equivalent to having countless materials. Others do not have such means. Even if the Void Origin ancestor is still alive, there is no way to study the fit like Yi Tian. In the beginning, Yi Tian scrapped Yi Jinpeng's soul several times, but nothing was researched. But the 5th time, Yi Tian finally discovered the specialness of Yi Jinpeng's soul. If the soul is decomposed into countless soul particles, then the general soul particles are the same, but there are very few soul particles deep in Yi Jinpeng's soul, but they are different from other soul particles. It fits. It is precisely because of the existence of these special soul particles that Yi Jinpeng can achieve 100% fit with the source of the eternal soul wood, thus easily absorbing the power of the source of the eternal soul wood to temper his soul strength. In the following days, Yi Tian began to study these special soul particles, thereby changing his own soul structure and constructing these special soul particles. This step is very difficult, but Yi Tian has been studying it all the time, even using his own 767 replica body and soul to study, failing again and again. Yi Tian finally succeeded after studying 3 eras of great robbery and failing countless times. Of course, after the first success, Yi Tian did not immediately let the ontology try, but continued to study until every success, and only then did the soul of the ontology begin to try. Deep in the soul of the body, Yi Tian chose a small area of soul, selected a small number of soul particles in this area of soul, and regarded these soul particles as stars in the starry sky, and then he used the eternal soul rule to remove these soul stars from the root. Transformed step by step, after years of evolution, it eventually became Yi Jinpeng's soul particle stars. In the process of evolution, one step cannot be wrong, which is why Yi Tian spent 3 great robbery times. Now, Yi Tian is also 100% compatible with the eternal soul wood. He can absorb the source of the eternal soul wood, thereby enhancing his soul strength. However, he doesn't have the eternal soul wood now, and the source of the eternal soul wood on Yi Jinpeng's body is too small. Therefore, he stared at Jin Zu's corpse and the eternal soul wood on his body. Those who choose no experience and are not superior, once they enter Longs, they are almost certain to die. But Yi Tian had already thought of a way. Chapter 1576 The Eternal Soul Wood is in hand. Longs is a true Jedi, and no one dares to enter, unless he is the top one at the level of the Void Origin Ancestor. But such a supreme person doesn't care about Longs and will not go to Longs. Yi Tian is now invincible. Once he enters Longs, he will be annihilated by Long's special power, but if he copies into a creature in Longs and enters Longs as a Longs creature, he will not be annihilated by Longs. Are there any creatures in Longs? In the past, Yi Tian really didn't know, but he has been inquiring about Longzi's situation all these years, so he knows more and more about Longzi. Longzi does have a life, named Long Weasel. This kind of life is not very strong, the only thing is that it is very fast. A strong man captured Long Weasel and used Long Weasel as his mount to travel in the Source Sea. Of course, because Long Weasel lives in Longs, it is very difficult to capture. So far only a handful of Long Weasel have been caught. But Yi Tian still inquired about the whereabouts of a dragon weasel, and that dragon weasel is not strong, only the strength of a second-class invincible. It is the mount of a first-class invincible, but behind that first-class invincible there is atop the supreme being as a backer. Yi Tian didn't snatch Long Weasel, he just approached Long Weasel and copied its body. Dust World. This is also an eternal world, but it is older than the T-Online world. There are many more supreme beings in the Dust World than in the T-Online realm. The T-Online realm is not very famous in the Source Sea, but the Dust realm is different. This eternal world is very famous in the Source Sea. Yi Tian came to the Dust World, very low-key approached the Malong Mountain in the Dust World, where the dragon weasel was. This dragon weasel belongs to the second-class invincible Chenhe, and Chenhe is a member of Malong Mountain. Yi Tian couldn't enter the Malong Mountain, and it was difficult for the copy talent to extend to investigate the situation inside the Malong Mountain, so he could only wait. Time passed slowly, and finally after waiting for a long time, Yi Tian finally waited for the appearance of Chenhe. The other party was riding Long Weasel and was about to leave, and this scene was captured by Yi Tian. The moment the duplication talent detected Long Weasel, Yi Tian was able to duplicate Long Weasel's body. So, Yi Tian disintegrated this duplicate body. Soon after, Yi Tian recondensed and copied the body, but this time it was the body of Long Weasel. After copying Long Weasel's body, Yi Tian personally took Long Weasel's body to Longs. Otherwise, if Long Weasel flew over by himself, wouldn't it be very embarrassing if he was caught by the Supreme Being in Yuanai? Yi Tian used the Void Origin Hall to quickly move to an area near Longs, and then flew outside Longs. At this time, his Long Weasel body instantly entered Longs. And Yi Tian's body returned to the Void Origin Hall and controlled his Long Weasel body wholeheartedly. Longs. As soon as Long Weasel entered here, he felt the warmth of home and was not suppressed at all. When Jinzu threw his body and eternal soul wood in from the position just now, according to the speed and strength, plus the resistance of Longs, it should be in that area. Yi Tian flew to that area and started looking for Jinzu's body. Along the way, Yi Tian also discovered some good things. It is estimated that they are all the remnants left by the Invincibles who broke into here before the fall of the Supreme, but they can resist the power of Longs without being destroyed. It can be seen that these things are not cheap. Yi Tian is really poor now, so he put away all these things. Soon, Yi Tian arrived at that area, during which he sensed a terrifying aura from the depths of Longs, far exceeding his current strength, but the owner of that powerful aura did not attack Yi Tian, and apparently regarded him as a dragon. An ordinary dragon weasel in Zine. The area of Longs was too large, so Yi Tian searched for tens of thousands of years before finally finding Jinzu's body. It has to be said that Jinzu's strength is very strong. Even if he has fallen for infinite years, his body is still not damaged. However, due to the fact that Jinzu's strength was too strong, it was difficult for Yi Tian to take away Jinzu's body. Fortunately, Jinzu's treasure is not stored in the inner world, nor does he have an inner world, but is placed in a void treasure, and this void treasure is inside Jinzu's finger, which is known through Jinzu's memory. Yi Tian took a long time to extend his strength to the void treasure, and after refining it initially, he successfully took it out and then took it away. After that, Yi Tian left outside Longs without encountering any danger along the way. And Yi Tian's body was waiting outside Longs for a long time. When Long Weasel came out, Yi Tian immediately took over the void treasure on Long Weasel's body, and then immediately returned to the Void Origin Hall. As for Long Weasel's body, Yi Tian naturally disintegrated immediately. Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian began to refine this void treasure, which is the Void Ball. The Void Ball is a very common storage treasure in Yuanai, with a large area, comparable to a realm. After refining the Void Ball, Yi Tian began to investigate the situation inside. It has to be said that Jinzu is indeed rich. There are 6 eternal source artifacts in this void sphere alone, as well as some void source crystals and other rare treasures, and there are also some rare treasures that can temper Yi Tian's body. Of course, the eternal soul wood that Yi Tian wanted the most was also among them. Eternal soul wood is here. Yi Tian was quite excited. In the days that followed, Yi Tian began to refine all the rare treasures in Jinzu's void ball that could improve his body, to improve his own strength. Then, he began to absorb the source power of refining the eternal soul wood. Lu, the source power of eternal soul wood Jiao Wengjiao is absorbed and refined by Yi Tian's soul, and the speed of this refining is much faster than Yi Jinpeng, because Yi Tian's strength is strong, and his understanding of fit is far away beyond Yi Jinpeng. Of course, Yi Tian is not attacking the realm of the Supreme Being, so he will not absorb too much of the source power of the eternal soul wood. As the source power of eternal soul wood was absorbed and refined by Yi Tian little by little, Yi Tian's soul strength became stronger and stronger. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian felt that he had almost reached the limit and could not continue to absorb the source of refining the eternal soul wood, so he gave up. After stabilizing the strength of his soul, Yi Tian's strength has improved a lot. He went to the third floor of the Void Tower, but he still failed, but he was very close to success. It seems that there is still a need for a second source of compatibility, absorbing the second source of eternal source. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 1577 Yinjiao Yuan Clan, Silver Copper Beads. Yi Tian has the memory of Jinzu, so he understands that many kinds of origin sea life are 100% compatible with some eternal source. According to the screening, Yi Tian selected a weaker source sea life, the Yinjiao Yuan race, which is a not very powerful race in the source sea, but also has close to 10 supreme beings. The Yinjiao Yuan family and the eternal source silver copper beads are 100% compatible, but the Yinjiao Yuan family is the body that fits the silver copper bead, but the soul does not. More importantly, the soul talent of the Yinjiao Yuan clan is too poor, so many people of the Yinjiao Yuan clan cannot cultivate to the second-class invincible realm in their entire lives, and the limit is the third-class invincible. But if they can't become a first-class invincible, even if they are 100% compatible with the silver bronze beads, it will be of no use. Therefore, there are not many supreme people in the Yinjiao Yuan clan. Perhaps this is also the limitation of the Source Sea Supreme Rule. The reason why Yi Tian was eyeing the Yinjiao Yuan clan was not only because the Yinjiao Yuan clan was weaker, but also because it would be easier to obtain the Yinjiao Yuan clan's origin. According to his understanding and investigation, the Yinjiao Yuan clan did not have first-class invincibles in this era, so he did not need to consume the 767 source of silver and copper beads for the time being. He had the opportunity to trade some of the source of silver and copper beads. As for snatching silver and bronze beads, he didn't have this idea, because it couldn't be realized. The supreme being of Yinjiao Yuanzu guards the silver and bronze beads all the time. Even if he replicates the bodies of the Yinjiao Yuan clansmen, there is no way to snatch the silver and copper beads. Therefore, he can only trade. The most important thing for the Yinjiao Yuan clan is soul treasures. If they can trade treasures that change their soul aptitudes, they are afraid that they will be willing to trade the origin of silver and copper beads. And Yi Tian happens to have a treasure that can change the aptitude of the soul, the eternal soul bead. The source of the eternal soul bead and the eternal soul wood, the eternal soul wood is the top 10s of eternal sources. Naturally, it is impossible to only preserve consciousness. The most powerful effect of the eternal soul wood is that it can condense the eternal souls. Wood. And Jinzu obtained the eternal soul wood for a long time, and obtained 10 eternal soul orbs in total, but he had consumed or traded a few eternal soul orbs, resulting in only 3 eternal soul orbs left in his void orb. I used the authority of the Void God Sun to investigate the identities of the Void Sons. One of the Void Sons in the third-class invincible realm is from the Yinjiao Yuan clan, so I will contact him. Yi Tian decided. That Void God child contacted me. Yin Ren, from the Yinjiao Yuan clan, received the information from the child of the Void Badge. The other party did not mention much, but mentioned the soul treasure. It has to be said that soul treasures are indeed the treasures that the Yinjiao Yuan clan needs most. In addition, the other party is the son of the Void God, and his status is honorable, so he will naturally meet. So, Yin Ren came to the Void Origin Hall and met Yi Tian. This time, Yi Tian still hides his identity, but Yin Ren doesn't care. What do you mean by asking me? Yin Ren asked. Deal, Yi Tian said, I don't know if the son of Yin Ren Void is interested in the Eternal Soul Orb. What, Eternal Soul Orb? Yin Ren's expression changed greatly, and he was extremely excited. That is an extremely rare soul treasure. It comes from the Eternal Soul Bead condensed from the Eternal Soul Wood. Because powerhouses with Eternal Soul Wood do not despise ordinary treasures, they will trade Eternal Soul Orbs unless they are moved. And the Yinjiao Yuan clan is not a very powerful race in the entire Source Sea, and due to bad luck, they have never acquired the Eternal Soul Orb, and they don't even know who has the Eternal Soul Wood. Interested in? Yin Ren said immediately. Before Yi Tian could continue to speak, Yin Ren said. If your excellency is willing to trade me an eternal soul bead, I am willing to pay any price. CJFI. The eternal soul orb may not be of great value to other children of the void. It can only enhance the strength of the soul, but it is enough to change the future for him. It has been a long time since he became the third-class invincible, but due to the problem of soul aptitude, there has been no progress in soul practice, and there is no way to reach the level of the 9 tribulations realm of the soul. How can he enter the realm of the second-class invincible? But if he has the eternal soul orb and improves his soul aptitude, he is sure to become a second-class invincible, or even a first-class invincible. As a member of the Yinzhaoyuan clan, if he becomes a first-class invincible, he can become a supreme one almost 100%, and he does not even need any supreme skills in eternal robbery, and he can break through by directly absorbing the source of silver and copper beads. This is the advantage of the Yinzhaoyuan family. You listen to me first. Yi Tian said. I only need one thing, and I can trade the eternal soul bead to you. What? Yin Ren asked. Yi Tian said seriously. The origin of the silver-copper beads, I don't need too many origins, just 1/20th of the origin of the complete silver-copper beads. An eternal source, as long as 1/3 of the source is not extracted, it can be slowly recovered, and 1/20th of the source is indeed not much. What, do you want the origin of our Yinzhaoyuan clan's eternal source of silver and copper beads? Yin Ren frowned. If someone else said this, it would be an enemy of the Yinzhaoyuan clan, and they would turn their face on the spot. However, this time Yi Tian has the eternal soul bead, which is the treasure he desperately desires. I can't be the master of this matter for the time being. Yin Ren confessed. I understand, Yi Tian said with a smile. So, you need to go back and fight for it, and I will wait for your reply. I believe that if you can't fight for it, maybe someone from your Yinzhaoyuan clan will be able to fight for it. It's not necessarily you who trades. Yin Ren's expression changed and he felt nervous. Indeed, he is not the only one who needs the eternal soul orb in the Yinzhaoyuan clan, even if the other invincibles are not as talented as him. However, he has not made a breakthrough so far, and has already disappointed many clansmen. Therefore, he has a sense of urgency. If Yi Tian trades with other Yinzhaoyuan clan, he can't imagine what his future will be like. Maybe, this is the only chance he has to seize. I have to make sure that you have the eternal soul orb in your hand. Yin Ren said. Yi Tian took out an eternal soul bead and let Yin Ren glance at it. Yin Ren came out. This is indeed the real eternal soul orb. Immediately, he assured, Your Excellency must not deal with others, I will give you an answer as soon as possible. After speaking, Yin Ren left through the Void Origin Hall and returned to his clan. Chapter 1578 The strength has increased again. Silver horns. After Yin Ren came back, he immediately asked to see a supreme person from the Yinzhaoyuan clan, who was also the ancestor of his lineage. Meet the grandfather. Yin Ren respectfully pays tribute to the supreme being, Yin Yingyuan Shinto. Yin Ren, why are you looking for me? Yin Yingyuan Shen said lightly. Yin Ren immediately said, Old ancestor, I heard that an invincible has an eternal soul orb, and I want to trade that eternal soul orb, but the other party's request is my clan's eternal source of silver and copper beads, the 20th of the origin. 1. The invincible dares to covet the things of our clan. Yin Yuenshin said angrily. Immediately, he proposed, Yin Ren, tell me who the invincible is, and I will kill him. Yin Ren said quickly, Old ancestor, I don't know who the other party is, but you'd better not offend him, he is a void god son. God of the void. Yin Yingyuan's expression changed, the son of the void was already very evil, and the son of the void was even more terrifying. He had heard the record of a son of the void, and that was terrifying, and it was unstoppable. At present, the Yinzhaoyuan clan can't afford to offend a void god child, otherwise there is a danger of annihilation in the future. Yin Ren hurriedly pleaded, Ancestor, this time is my big chance, if I can obtain the eternal soul bead and improve my soul aptitude, I will definitely have a great hope of becoming a second-class invincible or even a first-class invincible. With the help of the silver and copper beads, the eternal source of the town clan, I can easily become the supreme one. I am the son of the void, if I become the supreme one, my strength will definitely surpass the other supreme ones, which is enough to greatly enhance the Yinzhaoyuan clan's strength. Yin Yingyuan Shen was silent for a long time, then said, Yin Ren, this is a big matter, I need to discuss with several other supreme people in the clan, if they agree, then we will agree. You can rest assured, I will try my best to convince other supreme beings, but you will have to pay some price. I understand that I am willing to bear any price. Yin Ren said. Afterwards, Yin Ying Yuanshan met with several supreme people from the Yinzhao Yuan clan and discussed the matter of Yin Ren. I want Yin Ren to exchange 1/20th of the source of the silver copper bead for an eternal soul bead, what do you think? I don't agree, it's too risky. Once the source of 1/20th of the silver copper beads is consumed, it will take a long time to make up for it, and we even need to spend a lot of resources to restore the silver copper beads. Yes, I also don't agree, what if Yin Ren fails? Besides, there is more than one clan in the clan who urgently needs the eternal soul beads, so why do they have to give Yin Ren? Just because Yin Ren is the son of the void, if Yin Ren breaks through to the realm of the Supreme, it will be a great thing for our family, and it will be enough to greatly enhance our strength. After some discussions, the other Supremes of the Yinzhao Yuan clan finally agreed. However, they also made several demands on Yin Ren. First, in the future to quickly restore the origin of silver copper beads, Yin Ren needs to bear 90%. Second, after Yin Ren breaks through to the realm of the Supreme in the future, at least he needs to sit in the Yinzhao Yuan family for millions of calamities. This is also to prevent Yin Ren from running around. If he falls into a forbidden area, or does not come back in order to improve his strength, wouldn't the Yinzhao Yuan clan waste resources to cultivate Yin Ren? There is also a third point. After Yin Ren breaks through to the Supreme Being, he must recruit a clan member as a direct disciple from the clan, train him with all his heart, and strive to cultivate another Supreme Being. I have to say that the conditions put forward by several Supreme Beings are too harsh. But there is no way, the source of silver and copper beads can be refined to the clansmen, but if it is traded to outsiders, this is the first time. Therefore, they will be so opposed and put forward such harsh conditions. After hearing these conditions, Yin Ren was also very annoyed, but for the sake of the eternal soul orb, he still agreed. Then, several supreme people took 1/20th of the source and handed it over to Yin Ren, and let Yin Ren bring the source of these silver copper beads to the Void Origin Hall to trade with Yi Tian. Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian and Yin Ren meet again. My clan has agreed, let's start trading. 1. Yin Ren said. Can. Yi Tian nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian took out the eternal soul bead, while Yin Ren took out the source of the silver copper bead. Witnessed by the Void Origin Hall artifact spirit, Yi Tian and Yin Ren completed the transaction. After the transaction was completed, Yin Ren asked, do you still have a second soul orb in your hand? Our Yinzhao Yuan clan is willing to continue trading with you. For flowers. This is also the request of the supreme people in the clan. If they can obtain the second eternal soul bead, they are willing to give up 1/20th of the source of silver and copper beads. No more, Yi Tian explained. I just killed a powerful enemy, and he got this eternal soul bead. Just know that your Yinzhao Yuan clan may need the eternal soul bead, and I need silver. The origin of the copper beads is the only way to trade with you. He will not really continue to trade with Yinzhao Yuanzu, because he only needs the source of these silver and copper beads. If there are more, it will be useless. And the eternal soul orb is of high value, and it is not only needed by the Yinzhao Yuan clan. He is not stupid, so naturally he will not take out the second eternal soul bead. That's it, Yin Ren whispered. Maybe what Yi Tian said was true, maybe it was false, but he couldn't prove it, so he could only give up. Anyway, he has obtained an eternal soul orb, and the others don't care too much. Then, Yin Ren left. On the other hand, Yi Tian entered his cultivation space with the source of the silver copper bead, and immediately copied Yin Ren's body. He has to study the body of the Yinzhao Yuan clan carefully and search for the special particles in the body, just like studying the fit of the soul. Anyway, he has found a way, so this research should not take too long. Really, it took only 3 dark calendars for Yi Tian to research the special physical particles that could match the origin of the silver copper bead, and use the cloned body to study how to derive these special physical particles again and again, which took another 5 dark calendars. This is the success of the study. This day, Yi Tian began to let the physical particles of his body evolve into special physical particles that fit the origin of the silver and copper beads. It took some time, but this time the evolution was successful. In this way, Yi Tian's body can also be 100% compatible with the origin of the silver copper bead. Then, Yi Tian took out the source of silver copper beads. Absorb. Yi Tian's flesh body began to absorb the source of silver copper beads without any barrier. As Yi Tian's body continued to absorb the source of silver copper beads, his body became stronger and stronger. In the end, the source of the silver copper bead was absorbed by Yi Tian, and his physical body also improved a lot, and his strength was enhanced again. Chapter 1579 Lord of the Void, in charge of the Void Origin Palace. Should be able to succeed this time. Yi Tian thought to himself. He came to the third floor of the Void Tower again, and seemingly endless and powerful robbery beasts rushed over. Each of these robbery beasts is comparable to the top second-class invincibles, and they also know how to cooperate with each other. If there is a little mistake, Yi Tian will be defeated. I saw that Yi Tian's moves were all invincible skills, and he occasionally used supreme skills. After all, the supreme skill consumes a lot of itself, and it is impossible to use it all the time. Otherwise, if the power is exhausted, he will also lose, so the supreme skill can only be displayed at the critical moment. Boom! The beasts of robbery were instantly killed and annihilated by Yi Tian, but more beasts of robbery came up. It's been a tough fight. He did not persevere in the third floor of the Void Tower a few times before, but this time at least there is hope for 767. I don't know how long has passed. Yi Tian has also forgotten the existence of time, he only remembers one thing, that is to kill. He fell into a frantic killing state, beheading more beasts at the lowest price. The seemingly endless number of robbery beasts quickly shrunk, until one day, only a few robbery beasts remained, and Yi Tian's appearance was extremely miserable. At this time, his strength was almost exhausted, most of his body was gone, and there was no extra strength to repair the injury. Moreover, the soul power is almost exhausted. It can be said that for ordinary people, it is difficult to break through such a state. But Yi Tian was very happy, there were only dozens of robbery beasts left, and these robbery beasts were also injured. Although he has no power, he is sure to break through. When these robbery beasts came over, Yi Tian stimulated the power of the eternal talent space. The power consumption of the talent is very low, far less than an invincible skill, but the effect is good. However, the power of talent cannot be used all the time, but Yi Tian has never used the power of talent before, but now it is a hope. The robbery beasts were directly hit hard by Yi Tian's space eternal talent, preventing their attack. Immediately, Yi Tian activated all kinds of eternal talents, and finally killed all these beasts before the power was completely exhausted. At this point, Yi Tian broke through the third floor of the Void Tower. Void God Sun Yi Tian broke through the third floor of the Void Tower and officially became the Lord of Void. Qi Ling congratulated. At the same time, a force poured into Yi Tian's body and quickly repaired his injury. Wow! Yi Tian appeared in a source void in the Void Origin Hall, and saw a light and shadow. This light and shadow is the artifact spirit. Master, hello, Qi Ling said. Master. Yi Tian was stunned for a moment, and immediately said, I become the master of the void, can I become the master of the Void Origin Hall? He learned from Jinzu's memory that if he became the master of the void, he could obtain the inheritance of the Void Source ancestor, but he did not know that he could also become the master of the Void Source Hall. Yes. Qi Ling said, once you pass the third floor of the Void Tower, you can become the master of the Void Origin Hall, and you can also get some legacy of the previous owner, including the Void Origin Monument. I want to refine and control the Void Origin Hall first. Yi Tian asked. This is the most important thing, the main other things can be put behind. Only when you control the Void Origin Hall, can this place belong to you. Yes, Master. The Tool Spirit handed over the core of the Void Origin Hall to Yi Tian and let Yi Tian slowly refine it. The Void Origin Hall is not an ordinary place, so it takes a long time to refine the Void Origin Hall. Yi Tian has been refining the core of the Void Origin Hall, and has been refining for 6 times of great robbery. If he reaches the realm of the Supreme, I am afraid that the refining will be successful soon. After refining the Void Origin Hall, Yi Tian can truly be regarded as the master of the Void Origin Hall, and at the same time he knows the extraordinariness of the Void Origin Hall. The Void Origin Palace turned out to be a supreme source artifact refined by the Void Origin ancestor using dozens of powerful eternal sources and countless rare materials, and the artifact spirit can control the Void Origin Palace to exert a certain attack power. Moreover, the body of the Void Origin Hall is not in the Source Sea, but in a forbidden area. The Void Origin Hall in the Source Sea is actually just a special projection, otherwise it would have been taken by those powerful supreme beings. Gone. It is precisely because the Void Origin Hall is in a forbidden area, and the item spirit can also exert a part of the power of the Void Origin Hall, which has caused the Void Origin Hall to be in a state of no owner. Otherwise, there would be no one who was comparable to the Void Origin ancestor, and they would not be able to take away the Void Origin Hall. In other words, although Yi Tian refined the Void Origin Hall, he still couldn't take it away, unless he could come out of that forbidden place, but his current strength was not enough, so he couldn't do it. Afterwards, Yi Tian came to the inheritance hall of the Void Origin ancestor, ready to accept the inheritance of the Void Origin ancestor. At the level of Yi Tian, the path has been fixed, so the inheritance of the void origin ancestor can be borrowed at most, and there are also some special secret techniques, knowledge, etc., which are all of high value. It took only a few million years for Yi Tian to completely integrate the inheritance of the void origin ancestor. This time, the inheritance of the void origin ancestor is still helpful to Yi Tian. For example, he knows the realm division of the Supreme Being and how to take each step, and he will not go the wrong way. Moreover, he also knew the origin of refining the Void Origin Monument today, so that he could use the origin of the Void Origin Monument to absorb other origins to impact the Supreme Realm. Master, you have mastered the Void Origin Hall now, will you expel the other Void Sons and Void God Sons? Artifact asked. No need. Yi Tian shook his head. I am not in a hurry to use the Void Origin Monument to attack the Supreme Realm. There is no need to reveal that the Void Origin Hall has a master, and those Sons of the Void want to get 5.8 more points. They must completing the mission of the Void Origin Palace is also accumulating various resources for me, so why expel them? Yes, Master. Artifact understands. Immediately, Yi Tian asked, how many eternal origins and other resources does the Void Origin Hall currently possess? The Tool Spirit immediately replied. The Void Origin Hall currently has a total of 276 Eternal Origin artifacts and 136,394 Void Origin crystals. The Tool Spirit reported the number of seeds, and after Yi Tian heard it, the whole person was extremely excited. What a huge amount of wealth this is, he can't imagine it. He was sure that the other Supreme Beings were only a fraction of his current net worth. Having obtained the Void Origin Hall, his net worth was already among the top ranks of the Origin Sea. Chapter 1580 The Second Growth of the Endless Source Body. Artifact Spirit, I remember that the Void Origin Hall purchased the Devouring Origin Dragon for 100,000 points. Why is it so expensive? Could it be that the Devouring Origin Dragon has any special use? Yi Tian asked Qi Ling. After all, he did not hear the name of the Devouring Origin Dragon at all from the report of the Artifact Spirit just now, so he was a little curious. Could it be that the Void Origin Hall did not acquire a Devouring Origin Dragon? The Tool Spirit replied, Master, the value of swallowing the Source Dragon is very high. It can swallow the exotic world, and it can also swallow the source of the eternal source. It is closely related to the Void Source Monument. The place of killing is an eternal source that was finally born after long years of evolution. The Void Origin Monument has been supplying the children of the Void for enlightenment, and it is also consuming the source, and the Devouring Origin Dragon can quickly make up for the source consumption of the Void Origin Monument. It is precisely because the Void Origin Hall has been purchasing the Devouring Origin Dragon that the origin of the Void Origin Monument has always been at a level of more than 90%. So it is. Yi Tian suddenly realized. What about the Void Origin Crystal? What did the 29th Void Origin Hall do to acquire this treasure? Yi Tian asked again. Qi Ling explained. The operation of the Void Tower requires the Void Source Crystal, and the Void Tower contains a large formation that can continuously condense the beasts, and the energy consumed is provided by the Void Source Crystal, otherwise the Void Tower cannot operate. In addition, Void Source Crystal also has an important use, which few people know, that is, it can make the Void Source Body grow twice, but it needs a lot of quantity, otherwise it is useless. Void Source Body can still grow twice. Yi Tian was surprised. Yes, Qi Ling said. According to the previous master's setting, the Void Source Body must be grown twice before it can hope to cross the third floor of the Void Tower, but the main exception is that the Void Source Body is actually in the Void Source Body. Before the second growth, it passed the third floor of the Void Tower. If the master completes the second growth of the Void Source Body, the combat power of the same rank will even surpass the previous master. It turns out that the Void Origin Ancestor's standard setting for the third floor of the Void Tower is to require the Void Origin to complete the second growth. Yi Tian understood. No wonder he felt that the requirements of the third floor of the Void Tower were too perverted. He took so much thought and time to pass, and even had a little luck. If he had known there was such a way, he might have. If I knew this method earlier, I wouldn't be able to collect so many Void Source Crystals. Yi Tian thought to himself. Artifact Spirit, how many Void Source Crystals do I need to complete the secondary growth of my Endless Source Body? Yi Tian asked. The Tool Spirit came over, probed Yi Tian's body, and said in surprise, Master, your Endless Source Body is much stronger than the ordinary Void Source Body, and the Void Source Crystals you need are probably a lot, and I estimate that you need more than 50,000 crystals. The Void Origin Hall has been collecting Void Origin Crystals, and it is also preparing for the Master. Currently, there are more than 130,000 void origin crystals, which is enough for the master to complete the second growth. It actually needs more than 50,000 void source crystals. Yi Tian was stunned. He used to let the cloned body wander for many years before he was lucky enough to obtain a void source crystal, but now he needs more than 50,000 void source crystals to make the endless source body complete the second growth. If he did not rely on the void origin hall, he would not be able to make the endless source body grow again. I am afraid that it is difficult for the top forces to collect so many void origin crystals, which is why the void origin hall is special, and it has been collecting void origin crystals for infinite years, and they have collected so many void origin crystals. Yi Tian muttered. Immediately, he ordered the spirit to fetch all the void source crystals. He wants to absorb the void source crystal to complete the second growth of the endless source body. Once completed, his strength will usher in another qualitative change. Yes, Master. The tool spirit entered the treasure house of the Void Origin Hall and took all the Void Origin crystals. Qi, you go down first. I am here to retreat and practice. If there is no important thing, don't disturb me. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, Master. Artifact left. Origin space. Yi Tian retreats here, and the endless source body is urged to absorb the void source crystals. 1, 2, 3. Void source crystals were absorbed and refined by Yi Tian, but the endless source body did not change, and the strength did not improve. If it weren't for the item spirit telling him to absorb more than 50,000 void source crystals, his endless source body would complete the second growth, and he wouldn't absorb refining like this. It can be said that even if there is a certain void child who got so many void source crystals by chance, he would never dare to absorb and refine void source crystals in this way without knowing it. Otherwise, if it was wasted, it would be enough to feel distressed. Years passed slowly, and in the blink of an eye, a dark calendar time passed. In such a long time, Yi Tian has refined 50,000 void source crystals, but the second growth has not yet arrived, but he has already felt that the endless source body is becoming stronger. It is estimated that there are more than 50,000 void source crystals, and the tool spirit is only an estimate, and he can't accurately pinpoint a specific number. Yi Tian secretly said. So, he continued to absorb and refine the void source crystal. Anyway, he has a lot of void source crystal, and he is not afraid of consumption. 51,000 pieces, 52,000 pieces, 53,000 pieces. Until the time of 60,001 void source crystals, Yi Tian's endless source body finally underwent a fundamental essential transformation. Boom! The endless source body began to frantically absorb the source energy, and the energy in the source sea also poured into Yi Tian's body, helping Yi Tian to complete the second growth. I don't know how long it took. Yi Tian's transformation was completed. At this time, his body and soul are more than 10 times stronger, which is the second growth. It can be said that although Yi Tian is still in the second-class invincible realm, his strength is enough to easily kill those first-class invincibles, and even those first-class invincibles who have condensed the eternal robbery are not his opponents. Yi Tian felt that his strength was even enough to compete with the weaker Supreme One or Two. This was the increase in strength brought about by the second growth of the endless source body. Congratulations to the master for completing the second physical growth. The tool spirit appeared, and congratulated. Master, after the previous master completed the second growth of the void source body, the increase of the physical soul was 7 times, and the increase of the master's physical soul at least reached 11 times. The future master will definitely be stronger than the previous master, and he is even expected to step into the realm above the supreme. No need to brag, the realm above the supreme is too far away from me, I just want to be promoted to the realm of the first-class invincible. Yi Tian said. At this time, the tool spirit suggested, Master, the second-class invincible person wants to become the first-class invincible person, he must merge the physical robbery and the soul robbery, and the master has completed the second growth of the endless source body. The body and soul are far beyond the other second-class invincibles are also difficult to integrate. There is no suitable treasure for the master to attack the first-class invincible in the Void Origin Hall, but there is a treasure in the Source Sea that is very suitable for the master, which can save the master a lot of time. Where? Yi Tian was curious. Qi Ling said. Yin and Yang Kashan.